The Empath Experience by Katherin Deshotels. Introduction. Being empathetic means having the ability to have genuine understanding and compassion for other people, which happens because they can see themselves in the shoes of someone else. These individuals can understand, feel, and experience the emotions of someone else without being consumed and taken over by them, which gives them the ability to remain calm and in control. Even though they are not allowing the emotions to take over them, they are truly feeling those emotions, so this allows them to truly understand how that person is feeling and what they may be going through. Many of these people are very skilled when it comes to perceiving what may be going on with someone else, even with animals and plants. They are known to be highly sensitive and always very aware of everything in their surroundings. They do not mind being by themselves. They need alone time to keep their minds refreshed. Most of the time, they are not interested in large crowds or places that are extremely loud. They are not into places, people, or things that can cause obvious distractions for them. When it comes to children and animals, they are drawn the energy of these types of personalities. When it comes to listening to others, this is not something that they have to force themselves to do. They love and enjoy being there for people, and they do not mind being asked for advice and guidance. Do not be fooled, these individuals are very emotional. They have been known to experience 10 emotions all within an hour, so be careful and watch yourself if you offend one of them. Many times, they have not become the masters of their emotions, so they will be all over the place emotionally, taking on the feelings of others without being able to balance it all. This is very overwhelming. Are you an empath? Now that this has become a popular topic, many people are wondering if they are empathetic and want to know how they can become this way if they are not. When you are the type of person that always absorbs the emotions of other people and continue to feel it even when you're not with them anymore. Many times you will carry these emotions with you after they have gotten past their situation. You will be overwhelmed with someone's problem, even when that person did not bring their issue to you. Being able to feel the physical pain that someone is feeling as well as how their mental state may be at the time. There are many times that you have drained your energy, because of taking on so much of the emotions of another person. This can cause you to have to find some alone time to recharge and refresh. If you are considered a good listener by most of the people that you know, and they always come to you for advice, there is a good chance that you are filled with empathy. One of the things that you do not like to be around or witness is any type of violence or people being cruel to someone else. This is not something that your spirit can handle. If animals and children are naturally drawn to you, this is a good sign that you are a true empathy, because animals and children can see good or bad in people. It always comes naturally for you to be caring, understanding, and compassionate to others. Many people have to work at these traits, but to you, they are built into your system. And finally, you are oversensitive. According to most people who know you, you are the type of person who will experience all kinds of emotions at once, which others do not understand. Definition of a true empath. Empathy is used in a wide range of situations we are involved in and experiences that we have in our lives, which allows us to recognize the emotions and feelings of other people, as well as what they may be thinking at that time. These individuals are so spiritually connected with the moods of other people, both good and bad, that they can drain their energy taking on those negative feelings. Whenever they are around positive feelings, love, and peace, their body feeds on this like nutrients and begins to heal and grow internally. Most of them are exceptional listeners with the ability to solve almost any problem or issue for others who may be having a hard time figuring things out. They always have people turning to them for advice, comfort, love, understanding, and most of all, answers. They have a spiritual gift that involves being experts in human psychology, behaviors, and personalities. They are very good at reading people. As a result, it is very hard to lie to these individuals because most of them will be able to see right through you. These individuals get visions and messages, they have healing abilities, psychic tendencies, as well as extremely strong, deep gut feelings, more powerful than the ones normal people experience. Many times they do not have to be around you or even have talked to you recently to know that something is going on with you. They will get feelings, messages, visions, or dreams about you, which will come out of nowhere. All empathetic people are extremely creative and always use their abilities to turn their dreams and ideas into realities that thrive, and most of them are into helping and serving people in some way. Your energy. Many times, you will find that random people are easily drawn to you, which is very common for these people because they are blessed with a beautifully open spirit, which consistently welcomes the energy of other people. All human beings can detect that openness within the individual. Even if they are not empathetic themselves, their spirit is naturally attracted to their healing in that person. There are going to be many occasions where you will find people being drawn to you in so many different ways. They may just want to hang out with you for coffee or a general conversation just so that they can be with you for a moment. Then there will be other times when strangers will randomly seek you out for advice. You probably already have many family members, your friends, and coworkers come to you for advice. This is most likely because they feel that you are safe. That openness can be detected by anyone around you, and they can feel in your energy system that you are there to help them, so they will find a way to get close to you. Special gift. Thankfully, being truly empathetic can be pretty cool, especially once you learn that is what you are, figure out how to manage it, which involves keeping control of the reactions to your emotions. It can work for your benefit, as opposed to working against you. As soon as you begin to truly embrace your power, those empathic abilities can provide multiple benefits within your life. It is a very special blessing because you can connect on a spiritual level with any person on this earth, while also being able to read others. You are also able to change the energy of an environment or situation. If that is what your spirit calls for you to do, it will be very natural for you. These abilities can be developed and matured during natural interactions with people during your lifetime. This will ensure positive outcomes in your life, healthier relationships while showing an extremely high level of confidence. Empathic people are very skilled when it comes to being great storytellers. Their imaginations go very deep, and knowledge that they possess is limitless. They love the act of romance. They are very gentle and caring, and they are usually the one in their family that works on the family tree and makes sure to share those family stories. They have a deeper connection to music than everyone else, so they have to stay away from lyrics or stories that will trigger negative emotions. Cluster of abilities. These special beings usually have psychic abilities that often come in groups, especially as the person becomes more aware of their abilities. They will most likely be able to tap into any energy that they choose to. If you come up against someone who can read your thoughts, feel your pains, tap into your emotions as well as read your body language, there is no chance you will be able to deceive them. They will be able to smell you 20 miles away. Their spirit will alert them that you are on the way. They will be expecting whatever you think that you have for them, and they will stop you in your tracks. This can be very chilling, having someone tell you not to do or say something that you were getting ready to say to them. Your mind will be blown, because you are going to wonder how they knew exactly what you were planning to say or do. This is an example of an empathic person at their highest level. They are very good at reading subliminal messages, and they can determine who said what, exactly where the message was intended to go, and who can be trusted in that situation. This is why they make great business partners, because they can sense when a good deal is on the table, or if they are being presented with a bunch of bull crap. On many occasions, others will notice their skills and talents before they do, and being sensitive is an asset once it is managed by the empathetic person. Being closed off. When these individuals become closed off or aloof, it can seem very contradicting, because their gifts, abilities, and powers are used to read and feel other people, so spending a lot of time alone seems to make no sense for them. If you were a victim of any type of childhood trauma, you begin to try to shut down your system as much as possible, because it makes you feel safe. This happens frequently, especially before they are aware of how to work with their abilities, so they end up closing down their heart, shutting off emotions, in an attempt to prevent all of these energies from showing up and affecting them. They believe that keeping painful energies from reaching them will protect them because they are still wounded, and they do not have any idea as to how they go about training. This characteristic of being closed off or aloof can cause others to look at you as if you are cold or heartless, because of the way that you disconnect with people during their times of trauma. The fact is that you are not yet able to deal with seeing someone cry or get hurt in any way. You will always take off and run as if you are running from the police. This is because you feel completely awkward when it comes to trying to handle the pain or suffering of another person, so you are not able to handle it, which causes you to shut down and run away. It is not that you are a horrible person. You are only doing what you know, which is closing yourself off and being aloof. When an untrained person is forced to witness someone going through a painful situation, this will be extremely painful for them as well as hard to handle. When the shutdown process begins, this is when other people begin to look at this person like they are cold and have no compassion for others, which is completely false. They are the opposite, but until they gain the knowledge of who they are, the shutting down and running will continue. When they come into their full power, they will never shut down again, because they now realize the purpose of them being so extremely and beautifully open, which is to help heal others. When surrounded by the right people, and connected in the right places, with the correct type of energy, this special person can be just as open as anyone else. Many times, these personalities are so comfortable with the idea of spending time alone, this can damage your spirit. You need to engage other people to form healthy relationships. These types can be very generous with their compassion and assistance for those who may be in need, but they are not very good at looking out for their own needs. You need to be able to balance between quiet time to recharge and isolating yourself from others altogether. Living with the emotions of others. When you are still feeling the effects emotionally, days later, while that person has moved on and is no longer wasting their energy on whatever it was, this can take a toll on your mind as well as your spirit. As soon as they let all of those negative emotions out onto your plate, you ate the full meal, dessert, and the leftovers that were supposed to be for the next day. If you are not mature enough in your empathetic walk, it may take you a while to get used to letting go of the emotions of other people, and many times, you will still feel those feelings when you are away from them. It will take a while to learn that you cannot carry all of that weight on your shoulders, especially when it belongs to someone else. They should be carrying their burden. You are only supposed to be there to show support, love, understanding, and care, not to get yourself consumed with the situation, that you are feeling emotionally drained. Sensitive to suffering and pain. Mostly all of these individuals are very sensitive when it comes to suffering or pain of any kind. They cannot stand to see or hear anyone being hurt at all. This is just not something that they can spiritually handle without being extremely affected emotionally. They are too sensitive, and the emotions of what they see will stay with them for a long time. Being sensitive to suffering involves other people as well as animals. This is something that will cause extreme pain and discomfort in their spirit. When they come across someone who has been hurt, they do not just feel sorry for that person, it will go much deeper than that. They will take on some of that pain, and they may even begin to feel discomfort in their own body. They are not even able to watch horror movies, extreme violence on TV, or anything else along those lines. They are just not able to process it without having a strong emotional reaction, which will drain them. The suffering of others really causes a deep impact on their spirit, even when it is not real, like a TV show or a movie, they still cannot handle it. This is also something that can be worked through during the training stage. Detection. You already know they can read people, which can be very beneficial in your life journey when you can see right through the crap that someone is feeding you. There is nothing better. There are some bold people in this world, and most of them have no problem standing right in front of your face, with the intent to deceive you. Even when someone is talking to you with a smile, you will be able to see right past that smile and know if it is genuine or not. This is a true blessing to have this ability. We all remember those times when your mom knew when you were not telling the complete truth. You always wondered how she knew. Imagine having that same power with everyone that you come into contact with. It is almost impossible to trick one of them, as they are so good at detecting energy. It does not matter what the person is saying from their mouth, because they can detect the energy, which will let them know right away if that person is telling the truth or not. Being able to read people can sometimes be a problem socially, because you may just want to enjoy a nice conversation with someone, not even thinking about reading them, and all of a sudden, you get a sign. It can be very frustrating because now you have to pay attention. It seems they are lying about something, trying to pretend or misrepresent themselves, and you can see right through it. This causes you to become uncomfortable because now you realize that this person is insulting your intelligence. They have no idea that your spirit is communicating with you and sending you all kinds of negative signals about this person. Many times, your mind may be somewhere else, and your spirit will all of a sudden tell you to pay attention to something or someone. Liars will always feel uncomfortable around you, precisely because you are way too good at reading people, so people are transparent to you. A negative personality will always realize this about you, even if they are not spiritual, they will be able to tell that you can see through them. If they are used to being fully clothed, which means having the ability to fool most people, then you will make them feel naked, and they cannot have that. Do not like conflict. These types of individuals hate conflict because they are super sensitive to the energy around them, that if there is any type of chaos or violent type of energy, it will be extremely painful to them, so they avoid it as much as possible. There are many instances where they avoided conflict and they actually should have taken a stand and stood up for themselves. It can be very difficult for some of them to be able to find that balance between defending yourself and making a point to avoid unnecessary conflict and drama. Many times, they will just walk away, which is the way they always feel is the best way to avoid any kind of conflict, but as I stated earlier, you need to come near your power, so that you will know when it is time for action. All conflicts do not have to be negative or turn into a fight. Sometimes, there can be constructive conflict, which will force you to communicate in an alternative way. It may assist you in coming up with a solution. Being mindful of this will all come when you get stronger in your power and abilities. Crowds and loud noises. The empathetic individual is usually uncomfortable in large crowds, negative energy, or places where it is extremely loud. This is super common among them, which is one of the reasons why they will frequently run away from or avoid social situations. They do not care too much for social situations, as I stated earlier. It is because they can feel and become assaulted by the energy of others. If they find themselves in an environment where the energy is really heavy, they will jet out of there so fast. It will make your head spin. They are very protective of their energy and spirit, even when they do not realize it. If you happen to be with them when they say they are leaving, I suggest you get ready as well, because they are not going to wait, they will just leave. Usually, these are the ones who have not come into their power yet, so they are not mindful of the fact that they can block those negative energies. They have to realize that they do not have to take on those energies and can block them. This is something that can be learned and mastered over some time while you are working on strengthening your abilities. Alone time. Most of them require a lot of alone time, in the beginning, during the confusion, before they realize who and what they are. Once they come into their power, they realize that they must interact with others. They will still need their alone time but will notice that they do not need as much as they used to. It will take practice and time to get out of the habit of running away from everything and everyone. This is because we have not taken the time to properly heal from the trauma suffered as a child. They have a difficult time dealing with the energies, so until they come into their power and heal, they will continue to run from certain people and situations. When they realize their power and how to master all of their gifts, abilities as well as their emotions, this is when they will stop running and hiding from everyone. The sad reality is that many of them have lived like hermits for years, not knowing why they do the things they do, and what all of those dreams and visions mean to them. Most of the time, when they learn of who they are, what their power is, and how to navigate their way through this thing, they will begin to love spending time with other people and start looking forward to it. What happens is they are not longing for all of that alone time anymore. They are making plans and scheduling time with people to increase their contact with others. They do not like spending that much time alone anymore, thanks to being mindful and well aware of their power and the fact that they can control what energy enters into their spirit. Different types of empathetic individuals. Supersensitive. Many times they will almost overreact to something that someone does or says, because they are hurt so easily, due to being able to deeply feel everything. They are very sensitive. This is something that has to be worked on. Once it is realized, it takes a while, and it's not easy to do because they feel hurt and pain on a much deeper level. Many times, they overdramatize the situations that go on in their lives, when it is not even that serious. This happens as a result of them feeling the things of the world so much more intensely than other people. When someone says something to them, they may take it to the highest extreme in their minds, when it may be the size of a rice grain, but they are just that sensitive. If someone criticizes them, they are immediately feeling that negative sensation inside of them. They are not able to handle it, at least until they become stronger in their abilities. As their skills are improved and enhanced, the sensitivity level will go down somewhat. It will not go away. They will always be sensitive, but they will be able to manage their emotions situation by situation. It takes work, but it can be done. This is one of the blessings of being empathetic. You are well aware of the things that you need to work on, and you will always be guided to where you should be, to get the information that you need. You will get to a point where you will be able to discern whether or not you are acting out of control and if the situation is worth all of the energy that you are giving it. Most of the time you will find that you are exaggerating it just a little bit, so you will be mindful enough to bring yourself back down into a state of calm. This is when you are emotionally mature and able to discern these things better. Anticipatory. A good example of this would be when an individual has negative or uneasy sensations all over their body. This is always a sign to them that something not so positive is going to happen. Many people like to believe that this makes a person psychic, but I am not a fan of that term. Some people like to call them prophets, while others refer to it as having visions. However one chooses to look at it, the fact of the matter is that it is very real, and should not be taken lightly, because the day is coming where these are the individuals that we will follow. I know someone who kept getting bad feelings in her gut the whole night before the attack on the Twin Towers in New York and the Pentagon. She just thought that they were signs about her family. She had a sister and a niece who had a habit of hanging out on the streets until 3 or 4 in the morning, and she believed that her gut kept turning because they may be in some kind of harm. She called her niece a few times throughout the night, pretty much begging her to get off of the streets and go into the house because she had a bad feeling. Well, the next morning, she woke up, like the rest of us, to find out about the horrible incident that had happened. The first thing that she could think of was the way that she kept getting those uneasy feelings in her gut all night, and it gave her chills. She told her niece that she knew something was wrong but just did not know what it was, but she knew that there was a real reason for why she was feeling that way. The day is going to come when God allows these earth angels to prevent tragic events, as well as stop abusers and criminals in their tracks and bring them to immediate justice. This is a fantasy of mine. In the meantime, as we wait for those times, we should continue to focus our gifts on healing those who have been affected by pains, losses, abuse, and other tragedies. Physical. These individuals can feel the aches, pains, and illnesses of other people, as long as they are in their presence. For example, they may feel a slight pain in their head if they are in the company of someone with a headache. If they are in the presence of someone who has negative energy, they will feel that, which will automatically activate the need to assist the person in terms of healing. It is usually not possible to lie to them, because if they can sense and feel things, so if you say that you are fine, but actually in pain, they will most likely feel whatever pain or symptoms that you are having, within their own body. There is a woman who was having horrible pain in her knee. She could not figure out what was going on. She wondered if she bent it while walking, or if she made an awkward turn or something. This was very puzzling to her. She kept feeling this pain for a few days, which was now taking her into a state of panic, so she finally made an appointment to go and see a doctor figure out what was wrong with her knee. 2 days later, her sister came back from an out-of-town trip that she had taken. As soon as she came in the door, her sister noticed that she was limping. Before she could ask what happened, her sister began to tell her how she tripped and fell during her trip, which resulted in her spraining her knee. She was so upset. Immediately, the pain that she had been feeling in her knee had gone away, and she no longer felt any type of pain or trauma anywhere in that area. As soon as she got the answer to why she felt that pain, the energy was cleared, and it went away just that quickly. That is the moment when she began to realize that she was onto something special, and began her research on being empathetic. This is also something that you need to train yourself to be able to handle properly. It is not an easy trait to have, especially when you have not yet learned how to navigate through this world. This can be very difficult to get used to, and it has been known to traumatize those who were early in their gift or those who had no idea of what they were considered to be. It can be very hard to understand that you are taking on the pain and trauma of someone else, especially when you did not intend to. This is part of the gift. These things just come naturally. There are stories that I have heard, where someone was feeling pains in their body but had no idea why, or that they were experiencing the sensations of someone else. At a later time, they would find out that someone close to them was having the same pain, which was in that exact place on their body. Depending on how mindful they are of their abilities, this may be the moment when they realize why they had that strange pain that just came out of nowhere. If they are not aware that they have special abilities, or if they still training themselves to enhance their skills, they will feel something in their spirit. Intuitive. These are the ones who have a strong sense of knowing what is happening, what is going to happen, and what has happened. Many times, they can feel when something is about to happen, so they will get up and leave immediately, with no hesitation. They sometimes get messages or clues in their dreams, which end up becoming a reality, and they always seem to know when something serious is going on with someone that they are close to. They are very good at being able to tell when someone is lying to them and when someone is not being genuine about what their intentions may be. Animal lovers. These are those special individuals who many people refer to as horse or dog whisperers, which is because they have a good sense of how animals are feeling and what they need at that time. The love they have for animals is at a higher level than most of us. They can connect with the animals, and most of them prefer to be in the company of animals rather than other people. The animals that come into contact with them will always feel their energy and usually pull towards them to form a connection with them. Green thumbs. These individuals are said to be the biggest lovers of nature, the planet, and all of the trees on this earth, and they love to live their lives taking advantage of what nature has to offer to all of us. Most of them have what is known as the green thumb. They love gardening, growing fruits, and vegetables, which results in plants thriving in their presence. They are going to have the natural intuition, which tells them exactly how to care for and tend to any type of plant. They are also very mindful of types of plants, what they are used for, and how they can benefit us. They also have plenty of knowledge of which plants are edible as well as which ones can be used for medicine. Inquisitive. This is the person that will continue to ask the same question 1,000 times. They will do this until they make sure that they are digging as deep as they can go. Each time they try to get answers, they will go deeper each time, because they are going to look beyond the surface. They are always aware of a deeper truth, so they will usually not be interested in participating in the small talk. They are into serious conversations about real issues. They have the type of personalities that are going to want to know why, when, where, and what. This is the way that their brain is wired. They are very inquisitive. There never seems to be an end to the questions that they have, because in their effort to gain knowledge of what is going on, so they will not rest until they get to the bottom of whatever it is they are investigating. Even if it is a simple conversation, they are going to want to know every detail about the situation. They need to have all of the information concerning everything and everyone that they come across. One of the things about them is that they do not like to feel as if they do not have information or answers, so they will keep researching and asking questions until they figure out what it is they need to know. Dreams. Your dreams will become very intense or strange. You will begin to receive messages and clues as to what is going on in your path. You may see something in your dreams, and find out a week later that same event took place. It will be a life mission to search until you find the answers that you feel are necessary for your peace of mind. This trait will also prove to be beneficial in your relationships in the workplace or at home. It can be frustrating for you when you cannot find an explanation about something that needs confirmation, and you truly believe that there is always a way to work things out and will find the way. They can access certain knowledge from the universe and get any information that they need because they are free spirits. They cannot stand to be around any kind of clutter. This will block the flow of their energy and their creativity. Their dreams are usually very detailed and they are consistent in trying to find out what their dreams mean because they are very inquisitive. Many of them write their dreams down to keep track of them because they are aware of the importance of the messages and clues they receive while dreaming. They know that those dreams are focused around their own life and they are trying to figure out what to do with the information they receive. These individuals are very mindful of the fact that those are not just random thoughts running around in their minds. They know that the facts are usually linked to their dreams in some way. Then they begin a mission to try and understand the meaning and try to use it to unravel what is going on. Once they are fully into their power, they can put things together by connecting facts from childhood up until the present time. These people are really into daydreaming. They have been doing this since they were young children and will just sit and think for hours. This is something that makes them happy and brings them internal satisfaction. They are extremely uncomfortable with unresolved problems, so their mind keeps thinking while they sleep. This is probably why they get so many messages and clear images in their dreams. Spirit lifter. When you are in a spiritually happy place, then you will naturally want everyone else to feel happiness as well. Your instincts are going to be to help every time you carry around a gift of love within your spirit, and you cannot stop yourself from wanting to help. Spirituality is the gift of love. Service to others is the discipline of love. Most of the time, your heart will have you helping someone without you even being aware of it. Afterward, you may realize what you have done for them. You do not stop and think about what you are going to do or how you can help. Your heart has already taken action before your mind had a chance to interfere. Empathetic children. When children are born empathetic, they will always have that feeling that they are different but will not have a clue as to why they feel that way. Many of these children were raised by parents who showed hatred and resentment toward them. These children are usually bullied, abused, and put down by almost everyone that they come into contact with. They are not in the habit of standing up for themselves, which means that the child will be very defensive and possibly controlling as an adult. By the time they are grown up, they have lived through many horrible events, so a few of them are already masters of their emotions. When they come to the end of their early childhood days, they sometimes begin to realize that some of those emotions they are feeling are not always their own. There have been cases where the parents were also blessed with empathetic abilities, so they were able to use their intuition to see that those qualities in their child. Mean adults. Many of them grow up to be extremely controlling, displaying a huge ego, which are both examples of a defense mechanism that was formed in childhood designed to protect them from harm. Instead of protecting themselves, they have turned into this horrible person who has a habit of disrespecting, using, neglecting and putting others down. After surviving a traumatizing experience as a child, they will usually grow up to be a controlling maniac, if they do not check themselves. If you find that you have any type of control issues, this may be a sign that you are still struggling with protection issues. If you need to have things to be in an exact way, for you to be comfortable or happy, there is a problem there. Plant the seed. Empathy will grow just like a beautiful plant when you plant the seed into your children, which will result in a compassionate, caring human being. Try to focus on raising them with love, compassion, and understanding, so that they will turn out the same way. The psychology behind empaths. Cognitive empathy. This type of empathy is widely viewed as our conscious drive to accurately perceive the emotional state of someone else. If someone is feeling extremely sad, you will automatically pick up on that emotion and try to comfort them. You are just trying to mirror their emotion. Similarly, when a doctor examines a sick patient, he is attempting to comprehend the components of the illness. He is not looking for a reaction from the patient. Cognitive empathy responds to a problem in a cerebral manner, to understand emotions and the way that they work on a mental level. Emotional empathy. This lets us know when we physically connect with someone else, like they pass their emotions to you as a basketball on the court. This is how it works. You can feel or the way that an individual is experiencing. Compassionate empathy. When you enter into an environment where there are other people, the first thing that happens is that you begin to form impressions, evaluate everyone, and you will connect with the emotions that each person is feeling. You are not able to escape this phenomenon. We are built to have interaction with each other as human beings. When you are in the room with only one other person, you will quickly pick up on their behaviors, body language, and what they are feeling. This takes place without you even trying. Now that this has taken place, your own emotions will be triggered and will manifest into what we know to be as compassionate empathy. You will feel the need to help them discover why they are feeling what they are feeling. The fact that you can take on those feelings of other people can make you feel emotionally drained, which will usually annoy or upset the person. It can be difficult to deal with when you are processing the negative emotions of other individuals because you are having all of these feelings that do not even belong to you. Without a sufficient amount of empathy, our relationships cannot reach the level that they should, and we may subsequently remain emotionally hollow. Without empathy, the interaction that we have with our families and friends would be very cold with absolutely no feelings or compassion involved at all. There would never be any meaningful relationships, and this would be a sad condition for the human race to find ourselves living in. We can use empathy as a deterrent for our bad behavior, and it can enhance our perception of causing pain or discomfort to other individuals. When you see someone who needs assistance, you should have no problem being the one who moves quickly to offer that person help. Emotional immaturity. Many bonding wounds end up becoming codependent, fearful of a partner leaving, not knowing how to respond, making a big deal out of small things. Self-evaluate, and work on yourself and grow up. Realizing that you're immature in life will help you. As soon as you figure that out, you will immediately begin the maturation process. Huge imagination. Consistent fantasies about unlimited abilities. Most of the time, these images seem so real to them, they may actually believe they have magical powers. They really believe that they are special and can make important changes in the world and save people the way no one else is able to. This is why so many corporations are so successful, because of individuals like this. They can take their minds to places that most people are not able to access. This is mainly because they will stop themselves from imagining certain things. Their brain will tell them that certain things are just not possible, so they will never revisit those thoughts. An empathetic individual will consistently allow their minds to travel all over the place, and they will find understanding and comfort in those places as well. Their own way. They are not followers, they are leaders who will always go in the opposite direction than everyone else. They are very mindful of their decision to behave this way. It is part of their self-confidence, knowing how to survive. Sometimes they can come off a little harsh during conversations because they are short and dismissive without trying to be. They do not mean to be rude or mean, but they are just wired differently, and the way they are is just so much different than most people. This is a huge reason that they are so inspirational to others. It is very obvious that they have their own original ideas, and they always dance to the beat of their own drum. Broken spirits, thanks to the fact that they grew up in an unsafe, toxic, or abusive childhood, they are usually emotionally wrecked and some of the moodiest people on the planet. They are exposed to so many emotions at once. They can have 10 different moods within an hour, which causes them to be very explosive at times until they learn to tap into that inner calm. Many of them are very good people, but the trauma they suffered has managed to bury the true personality under all of that darkness. The spiritual purpose of empaths. We all have a purpose in life. If you do not know what yours is, then you should take time to self-evaluate, listen to your heart, follow your gut instincts, and begin to make moves. You need that self-awareness so that you can handle all of the emotions that are going to come with interacting with different people. If you are not mindful of how your emotions affect you, you will stay confused. The purpose of empathy. When you look at empathy as a spiritual gift, then you will realize that it is meant to be used as a source of healing for those who need it, which will come naturally to them without having to think about it. Many times, they will already know how to handle the situation, whether it is by praying, getting everyone calmed down, or just making sure that things are going the way that they are supposed to go. Life of the empath. Unlike us, these individuals have a critical need for validation to feel that they are successful. It is like the food that humans need to live. They need to be validated and loved. That is where they get their strength from, feeling that they are loved and accepted by others, so when they do not eat, they are not in a healthy state of mind. So you can imagine how much chaos they have to live with, the emotional roller coaster that they stay on, and the way that their lives are emotionally unstable. They have a really difficult time dealing with the reality that someone that they care about has lied to them or deceived them in some way. They will get lost emotionally, and many times they will blame themselves for what someone else has done to hurt them. They always have to have the things that they need, or they will lose their minds very quickly because they cannot handle any type of emotional confusion. The life of this type of person can be very challenging and exciting from the teenage years up until mature adulthood. It is a very beautiful and fulfilling skill to have, especially when you learn to manage it. They are very much into controlling their environments and changing the energy of the room so that they can feel stable. They usually have many talents and skills which enables them to be successful in multiple ways. They will always manage to contribute to society in very important ways, and they consistently do very well in the scientific world and when dealing with the spiritual realm. When they have their energy in the correct space, they will always want to bring others into that same space so their energy is good as well. When an empathetic person connects with what they truly need, this is when they truly realize that they are in contact with their healing power, and they get energized and their light begins to shine like I was meant to do. Strong senses. When you walk into a room, you can sense when something is off, if something is about to happen, or if something has already happened. You are also able to sense when someone has been feeling sad or depressed, and you will probably know why before they get a chance to share it with you. Many times, if you are in a space where someone has passed away, you will be able to sense their spirit immediately. This is a very special gift to have, especially when you learn how to master it. These are all signs you can sense the energy, emotions, and thoughts of those around you because you are very sensitive to the energy of others. This is why you are not comfortable in negative environments, situations, or being around negative people. Your senses are extremely strong, and you can feel all types of energy around you. Take care of you. While you are out in the world doing all of this good, helping others, showing love and compassion, do not forget to take care of the person in the mirror. They need your love and comfort more than anyone else. You need to take the time to make sure that your mental, spiritual, and physical health are all in order. You will not be able to effectively make an impact on the lives of others if you are not in the correct state of mind. There are going to be many times where you will begin to feel your energy level go down when there are so many other energies around, like worry and fear, but you just need to learn to focus and block that negative energy. This way, you will be able to quickly reconnect with your spirit and go back to having a good time. The faster you jump back to joy, the more in tune you are with knowing how important it is to get with your higher self to get things done. This is why it's so important to take care of yourself spiritually and protect yourself from those energies that are seeking to latch on to you for life. Learn to shut them down before they attach themselves to you. Turning negative into positive. Most empathy have the natural ability to turn a negative situation into a positive one. They do not have to think about it. They just take action, which always seems to work in some way. They are very quick thinkers who allow their spirit to guide them, which they listen to, so the results you see around them are always positive or motivating and inspiring to find a way to work things out. The bottom line is that they are experts when it comes to finding the light in a dark situation, and also being positive in difficult situations when no one else can do so. Helping others realize their worth. These are the kinds of people who make others aware of the light that they may not be aware that they have in their spirit. Many times, due to life experiences, negative interactions, and failed plans or goals, people give up hope, and their self-esteem goes away and they no longer feel worthy. If you do not have someone there to pick you up when you fall, help you laugh when you are feeling down, support you when you feel abandoned, or to remind you that you are loved and worthy, you can become depressed and fall into a lifetime of stress and unhappiness. The empathy is that person who will always make you feel better because they are going to tell you that you are important, even if they do not know you personally. They will be able to tap into something about you, which will help them to connect with your spirit and see things. Ease suffering of others. They are known as natural healers, usually, because they can make others feel better, and they are very skilled healing illnesses with home remedies, and they know exactly how and what to do to make things seem better. During the process, they are going to remain positive, inspiring, motivating, loving, and compassionate, which will automatically decrease the amount of suffering due to the level of mental and spiritual care that they provide. Things to do will come naturally to these individuals. They are never the ones who need to stop and think about how to handle a situation. Most of the time, what needs to be done is already in their spirit. Challenges of an empath. There are many challenges of being a spiritual person, one of which is trying to help someone heal, and taking on and owning the emotional experience that they are having. You have to be able to feel what they are feeling, without allowing those feelings to consume you and take over your energy, which will immediately cause you to feel drained. Most of the time, when this happens, you will feel extremely drained and tired, because you are now experiencing those negative effects and emotions of that person's experience. The key is to learn to balance between feeling the emotions and being taken over by them. This will get easier as time goes on, and you are consistent in practicing this skill. When you learn how to do this properly, you will find yourself feeling all of the emotions of the other person, but you will not be out of control emotionally. You will be able to remain calm so that you can assist them effectively. Self-sabotage. Depending on how awake they are, most people will do this to themselves. Our subconscious mind believes the things it is being told and takes everything in like a sponge. You must be able to recognize the energy of self-sabotaging, get to know that voice very well, otherwise, you may begin to allow those negative messages to affect you again. This self-sabotaging program has infiltrated every area of our life, the government, entertainers, our children, and all across the board. It has convinced some people that they need to carry out their punishment. This is why it is imperative that we unconsciously unplug from the collective reality and consciously plug into the abundance, which is heaven on earth. People that are fully being restored to their natural programs, as humans, are both good and bad, depending on what our primary operating system is telling us that we are at that moment. The good one. You have convinced yourself that you are the good one, and everyone else has an evil streak in them. It takes a while to reverse this belief, and you will be successful when you stop passing judgment on everyone else and see yourself in them instead. Even those individuals who claim to be spiritual rather than religious are a form of ego suggesting that you are of a higher level. With the appropriate work, you will learn that you are not above anyone else. Many times, people use the word spiritual to gain immediate approval from others as being great individuals. This behavior may increase your status, get you a raise, or enhance you socially, but it will not promote spiritual development or growth. Step-by-step guide to living your life as an empowered empath. Empath training. For the people who have not become unaware of their gift, or how to use it, this process can be very difficult and disturbing. This will be a reality when the empathetic individual has an experience that is directly related to a tragedy. There are many things that you can do to enhance your abilities and begin to live within your power. This will immediately increase your level of self-esteem as well as your confidence. You are going to feel extremely powerful when you can make use of all of your abilities that were meant for you to help others. There are different levels to this. You have the stage where you do not know why you think, feel, and act that way that you do. You have a small feeling in your gut, but have no idea what it means. Once you start to get older, these senses will begin to intensify along with many of the other signs that will show that you are empathetic. The first step is realizing this. Then you need to figure out what it means and how to manage it. You are going to need to become self-aware if this has not already happened in your life. Self-awareness is imperative if you want to be able to master your emotions. Enhancing your skills, this is something that can be learned. you just need to practice. One of the best ways to enhance your empathetic abilities is to challenge yourself and try new things. Get in the habit of making quiet time for yourself. This is very important to do because it works like a refresher for your mind. Ask plenty of questions to expand your knowledge. Make sure that you check in 3 other places for verification of the information that you have found. Try to control the way that you judge other people. Slow down before you correct or critique another person. Think of a way to inject kindness into the situation. You can also plan to take 1 day each week to work on your empathetic skills and training. This will be a very valuable asset to you because your skills are going to be enhanced now. Be mindful of the determinations of what you perceive to be happening when you're interacting with other people. Tap into what you are truly feeling and sensing. You are wired with empathy, regardless of what happens to you or what you may be thinking. We all have mirror neurons, which are somewhat automatic sensing mechanisms that pick up on the emotions of other people. Meditation, connecting with nature, drinking plenty of water and keeping track of your dreams are all ways that you can increase your empathetic abilities. Permanent signs. These are the signs that are going to be present throughout your life no matter how much you train, work with towards being stronger in your abilities or develop your empathic abilities. These are those traits that you were born with. These signs will still be there even when you come into your full power. Many of them will increase, and your gifts and abilities will become enhanced as well. Temporary signs. There is so much information out there, but it does not cover all that it means to exist on this earth as an empathetic being. There are some signs that you will display, which will decrease or eventually go away, as you get stronger. These are known as temporary signs because they can disappear or diminish significantly when you come into your power. You will be able to manage your emotions and reactions at a higher level. These are those signs that only occur when they have not yet figured out what they are and what their truth is. When a person does not know their empathetic gifts, they will just reject those feelings and seclude themselves from other people. They will do this because they begin to notice that they only feel these negative emotions when they are around others. They will start to isolate themselves to avoid those negative feelings and emotions, which can be frightening until you are aware of what is going on. During those times before we start training to strengthen our empathy, these feelings and emotions will attach themselves to you, and you have no idea what is happening with you. It just seems that you are very depressed all of a sudden and you cannot shake that feeling. This is usually what causes most empathetic individuals to shy away from interacting with others. They begin running away, hiding, and creating a safe place where they can be all alone. While you are in the stage where you do not understand your empathic abilities, you feel as if you are getting beat up by these random emotions and thoughts that seem to come from nowhere. You will feel like someone is trying to poison you, and you have no control over those emotions or feelings. And now all of that energy has piled up on top of you. Trust me, once you realize what you are, the abilities you have and you finally come into your power, blocking those emotions will come easily for you. Empath healing. To heal, you are going to need to reverse the protection mechanism that you have built up. This means that you are going to have to revisit some of the bad things that may have happened to you. This is the reason that these people struggle so much, because they do not deal with these things. They just ignore them and try to survive the best they can. The best way to begin to master this is to allow the memory to take place. Take a moment to truly feel the emotion, then release it. The key to doing this is to immediately think of a happy memory and replace negative or traumatic thoughts. It takes a while to master it, but after doing it for the first time, it will eventually begin to form a new habit for you. This will help you begin to look at things from a different perspective, and you will be able to keep yourself on track mentally. You need to get in touch with your navigation system, get in tune with your heart, which means allowing yourself to feel more, not less. Meet your own needs fully, allow yourself to feel your emotions completely so that you can develop trust with yourself as well as the art of discernment. When you get to this point, you will no longer fall into that dangerous role of being codependent out here in this crazy world. You understand the power of choice and use it wisely. Empathetic stages. The awakening stage. When you go through a spiritual awakening, your thinking will change immediately. It will happen so quickly that you will be confused as to what happened to the beliefs that you just had. These mental changes will take place suddenly, and you will find yourself feeling different about life and thinking about specific things such as chaos, something falls apart, or life-threatening accident. Something huge happens in the external environment, and this is when you wake. Your ego loses the grip that it has on you. Now you finally realize that ego has never controlled anything and try to figure out what you were driven by all of this time. The spiritual awakening process is something that will be in the works for a lifetime because when it begins, there is no end. It is a constant process until you leave this earth. How intense the awakening process is will vary from person to person. Many people go through quiet and calm periods. Then something crazy and out of control seems to follow the calm. This is the beginning of your walk on the spiritual path. If you do not experience that spiritual awakening, you will live your life seeking power and money thinking this will bring happiness. Going through a spiritual awakening can be very confusing and lonely during this time, but it is enlightening and beautiful as well. The time that your awakening occurs is not something that you will be aware of when it happens. It is very sudden and never expected. You will not even realize what is going on until much later on down the line. The spirits will come and crash the party that you think is your life and destroy what you thought you had planned. You do have any idea when it is time for your awakening, but unlike you, the spirits know exactly when to show up and take action. You can think about it in terms of getting dressed. To put on new clothes, you must take off the old ones first. That is the way the dark stage is about, getting rid of the old so that there is room for the new. The old must be stripped away to make way for the new. It is similar to being born, dying, and being born again. It is a very difficult experience to go through because there is not much positivity around. The key to getting through this stage is to be mindful of the fact that it is only a phase of your life, and it will fade away, and you will finally experience clarity and peace. During this time, you can expect to feel like God has forgotten about you because you have no idea of where to go or what you should do. You have begun to isolate yourself from everyone and everything that you were interested in. Not only are you going to be mentally drained, but you are also going to experience physical exhaustion as well. The sudden feeling of emptiness will have you searching for something, and most likely, you will not have any idea what that is they are looking for. It is very common to question your purpose in life and feel as if you do not belong here while you are going through this period, so allow yourself to feel this way and it will eventually pass. Most of the unhappiness that you feel at this stage is because you are disgusted by all of the sufferings that are going on in the world. Feeling stuck. There will be times during the spiritual awakening process when you become bored and tired of where you are and begin to need something deeper. There may be a resting period where you just need to be calm and wait for further instructions. But now that you are aware of what you are going through, you have become anxious and want to see results immediately or move to the next stage. You may not realize it, but this is the level that causes you to become more motivated to research things on another level. Just be patient and be still until your spirit tells you to move. Trust in your ability to hear that voice when it speaks to you, and it will get louder as time passes. Getting through the awakening. Surrender, do not fight or resist. Many empathetic spirits can get impatient, upset, and defiant because they do not want to be in the dark stage. They want results or answers instantly. They are feeling tired of the whole process. They are drained, upset with God for the spiritual awakening, and wishing that they could just forget the whole thing. Your soul is programmed to awaken at a certain time. If you resist it, you will prolong the stages. The more you resist, the longer it will take for your soul to pull you along. It will take longer. Your spirit is going to be the winner, so just surrender to the process. Working with mantras is a good idea. My soul knows what it is doing. Everything is going what it needs to. I give up control of my soul. I be willing to be soft. Say yes to your soul, and the stages will go faster. You are going the direction you were meant to go, because your spirit is stronger than your ego. Open and willing, true art of surrender, and says yes to your soul and where it wants you to go. There are so many confusions concerning spiritual awakening. Someone may be walking in nature and experience a wonderful moment of connection, but it goes away quickly. That person will be totally confused, wondering why they have been gifted this power, but then lost it so quickly. This usually happens while you are still in the beginning stages of your awakening and your level of consciousness has not begun to shift yet. After the awakening. After you go through your awakening stage, it is vital to explore all the different spiritual paths available to you. Follow your heart and instincts. This will ensure that you choose a path that is in harmony with what you were called to do. This is the time that you should begin to practice working on your inner self so that you can make sure that you continue growing, evolving, and keeping yourself grounded. The awakening stage has been known to make individuals feel as if their life has been turned upside down. So many of them suffer from depression and chronic anxiety. This is why self-care is so important. You are going through a lot mentally, physically, and spiritually, which can be a lot to process. Some people are never able to understand or process what is happening to them spiritually, and their mental status never seems to recover from what they have experienced. Bliss stage. Coming alive, connected with everything around us, the world, people, feeling guided by spirit, feeling love at a stronger level, tapping into the quantum world. The spirit world is always trying to communicate with us, but we have to be awake to hear it. Messages from angels, taken over by all of the beautiful emotions. Intuition deepens. This is because the heart is waking up. Sometimes this can be the first time feeling the heart open up. Very beautiful stage, so good that they do not want to leave this stage, not going to ever feel the negative emotions again. Dark stage, where your soul brings up all of the things that need healing and released in this lifetime. Most difficult stage. You may be healing things from past lives as well, because they may be holding you down. Your soul is trying to move you from this, but it is being held down by these things that need to be healed. Ego blaster, release things. Feel depression, despair, anxiety, lost up, not sure at all. Can feel as if you are dying. Your biology and genetics are all changing and being born again. Most empaths experience some form of the night, which can last up to years. Be patient if you are going through this. Timing is correct. Our spirit is getting you ready to purge, and you need to do this for your mind and body. When you go through this, it helps you get to where you need to be going to become completely new and different, and will appreciate it for what it meant to your growth. Void stage. Seems as if everything in life has stopped. You have purged all of that bad stuff and do not know quite what to do with yourself. You are in between your old energy system and your new energy system, between the old you and the new you. Much anxiety, when you have no idea what you are going through. The universe closes doors on you so that you can emerge brand new. I am not getting messages anymore. My communication stopped, and wonder where all of the bliss and spiritual connection. With God, the resting stage. It wants you to rest so that you can get ready for the next stage. Do not fight it, just be mindful of the fact that you are in the resting stage. You have done so much work healing, and you are extremely tired, so take this time to rest at deep peace, because you know where you are and taking advantage of it. Taking spiritual practices, so I can remain balanced when you are aware and you know you are in the void, and work with the energy. But this is when you start to step into authentic power, because all of the stuff that was holding you back is gone. This is when you get to know yourself truly and deeply, not full power at first. It will build up. Looking at the new person in mirror, really coming into self, inner power, standing on own 2 feet, working with it not against it grounded stage. Pulled up like a tree growing up into the sky, by stage 5, you have deep roots into the ground. At first we wanted to be excited all the time, not bliss stage like teenagers, first-time experiences. More mature now, grown up, become spiritually and emotionally mature, mindful of necessity of deeper routes, want to return to regular civilization because we are ready, do not need to run from other types' energies, so our sense of resilience is built up as roots go down. Something else, energy system becomes more powerful at manifesting. The deeper the roots, the more the tree can grow. You become magnetic. The connection with the spirits and with God has returned, but it is more connectedness, feels more real, grounded, like actual everyday life. Your heart is continuing to open, which increases your compassion. There is a great sense of feeling grounded, as if there are no more worries, feeling protected, loved, and guided. You have grown these huge roots quickly, which have now become very rooted in this reality, so it is easier for you to now translate your spiritual understanding and spiritual truths. Your power. You need to come to an understanding that you have the empathic abilities to accept and take on emotions or feelings of someone, and you also have the power to decline those emotions. You will learn this with training and with experience, but I want to emphasize the word can, because you have a choice. It is not an automatic action that has to happen. You can control which emotions and feelings that you will allow into your spirit. Most books and videos teach that you just take on these emotions without being able to control it, but that is not true. This is why it is so important to focus on enhancing your skills, taking your training seriously, so that you are well aware of how to use your power and your gifts. Becoming self-aware. Most empathetic individuals are extremely self-aware. Some of them know who they are at a very young age, and can stand on that without allowing any influence or opinions from other people. They are very strong-minded, and always seem to know that they will admit, have no idea how or where they got that information from. If you are working on improving your skills, this is a great place to start, because you are going to need to know exactly who you are, how to control your reactions to emotional situations. When you truly know yourself, become comfortable with who you are, and fully accept it, this is when you will begin to help others. Self-awareness is what will help you to live in your truth. It is also the key to becoming emotionally intelligent, which includes mastering your emotions and controlling your reactions. Mastering social skills, learning to recognize your emotions, will help you in terms of interacting with other people, because knowing how to deal with your feelings will allow you to read the body language of others. You will also be able to recognize the shifting of their emotions and their moods if you pay close attention while communicating with them. As the situations change, their body language and their energy will change as well, which you will be able to catch, as long as you are looking. This is where establishing a baseline is very important, especially if you are trying to get to know them. You want to get familiar with their normal reactions, facial expressions, and body language. Remember to stay consistent. This will become easier and more natural for you. The more that you do it, this should become a habit for you from now on. It is just like a muscle, just continue to build it up, make it stronger, and it will work wonders for you. It is another way of training your brain. It is going to be very empowering to you when you begin to realize that you can tell when someone is lying to you, or when you can tell when someone needs help without needing to be told. If you are out there dating, this is a great skill to have, because you will be able to feel if someone is really into you, or if they are just trying to get a quick fix. When your empathic skills are at their highest level, most people will not even try to lie or deceive you because their energy will let them know immediately that you are not able to be fooled. This will turn many people off and make them not want to be around you, especially those who are habitual liars, those who are pretending to be something that they are not. They will know that you can see through them. Things like this will become more common the stronger you get in your abilities, so it will bother you less and less you will expect it from certain individuals. Emotional protection. One of the ways that these individuals can keep their energy protected is not allowing themselves to remain in spaces that do not feel comfortable, and they will not keep company with people with negative energy. Many times, without realizing it, they will remove themselves from a situation or environment and not really know why they feel the need to go, but they will get out of there anyway. This is usually when someone has not come into their power or during the training stages when they are trying to improve and enhance their skills. Many times their spirit will not allow them to settle in a place where they are very sensitive to loud sounds and noises, a lot of chaos or drama because their nervous system is not set up for those types of things. Second brain. Experts have said that our stomach is our other brain located in the lower part of our bodies. It can connect with all of those pieces of information floating around, which you are not able to see with the human eye. The reality is that your nervous system can sense and feel these things, so you need to make sure that you listen because it will never tell you the wrong information. Ego. This is our sense of self. It is possessive because it experiences itself as separate from everything else. The ego thinks that it knows everything, but the spirit knows it all. Ego is constantly moving and trying to do something, while the spirit is eternally still. Your ego will want to keep you separate from certain people or individuals who it believes are beneath you or your lifestyle. Most of the time, this comes from insecurity and fear. Your natural spirit has no fear or sense of separation. This is all games that your ego loves to get caught up in, that whole you versus me thought process. Silent judgment. You may not say it out loud, but you believe on the inside that you are better than most, so instead of being spiritual, you become disconnected from other people. Many times this happens when you begin reading more spiritual information, join a religious group, or begin going to church again. Inner peace. As you take that control away from your ego, you will no longer be held prisoner by anger, temptation, stress, and constant anxiety. This is when you finally feel as if everything in your world is okay, and it does not matter what may be going on in your life at the time. You are very serious about your spirit at this point, and you are not interested in playing around with fake spiritual philosophies or preachers who have no feeling in their delivery. You feel complete for the first time and you are into meditating, mindfulness, exercise and taking your health very seriously. When you are in a natural happy place in your spirit, you are emotionally stronger, truly engaged with people and the world, and you are living your truth in a peaceful place. You are no longer fighting the nature of what your life is supposed to be. This is where you have finally accepted things for what they are and moving on with life. Honesty. If you were already an honest person, you would become even more brutally honest with yourself as you get stronger within your gift. You are not going to be able to stand to play any type of game, pretending in any way, and you will never again compromise who you are or what you want in life. You have now become more responsible and hold yourself accountable for your actions, and now you make it a point to operate with integrity. You have to be authentic and truthful at all times. This is a priority and faking is not something that you can do. It makes you sick to your stomach. Being honest is not only good for the soul, but it is also great for your relationships and the connections that you will build in life. It pays to be honest. The rewards come in so many ways, one of which is being secure in knowing that you have nothing to hide. If someone has asked you to join them for coffee and you do not want to go, but instead of saying no, you agree to meet with that person. During the entire conversation, and even the next day, something inside of you is saying no and that you do not want to go. You may not know why you are feeling that way, but the immediate response in your brain was no. But you will override that feeling for fear of hurting their feelings. You have got to work on getting yourself out of this dangerous habit because you will consistently end up in situations that you do not want to be in. If this person happens to be in the same room with someone who has a demon with them, it will drain them because they are going to have to transmute that negative energy. This can happen constantly, which is why it is very important to protect your energy, but it is also caring about yourself, about your own emotions, and becoming meticulous with caring about the way that you are feeling. Built. You will automatically feel a tremendous amount of guilt when you wake up. This is because when you were not conscious of your behavior, you had no reason to feel any type of guilt. Be mindful that this is not shameful guilt, showing up because of something bad you have done. This is a way that your conscience can make the corrections it needs to make within you. Sharing your awakening with others. Many people are very excited about their awakening once they realize what it is. Some of them are so overjoyed that they want to tell everyone they love. You need to be very selective when sharing this type of information about yourself since your sensitivity level is very high during this time. You are vulnerable. The best way to make this decision is to be sure that you are in your power first so that you are mindful of how to protect your energy. You must make sure that those who you choose to share this with are awake themselves, or at least mindful and possibly currently going through the process themselves. When the people around are spiritually aware or conscious of human beings, they will have a basic understanding of what you are going through, while those with no knowledge of the spiritual world will not. If an individual is not yet awake themselves, they may project onto you their negative beliefs of what is happening to you, and their opinions may throw you off a little bit. You do not need any distractions or possible negative energies around during your awakening stage. This is already a very intense stage in your life where you will feel a little bit lost, uninspired, and alone. Deciding to share your awakening with others can be a good idea depending on where the person is spiritually in their own life. If they are not in a place where they are at least mindful of the process and you make comments about dancing to the universe or connecting with the spirits, this will push them away. It will also make them believe that you are having mental issues and they will want for you to go and get some professional help. There will be a variation of things going on in their minds because they are not spiritually awakened yet, so they do not understand what is happening. You may even try to explain certain things to them, but if they are not in the correct place spiritually, it will still seem crazy to them. Most of them will probably tell you that you need to see some kind of specialist because that is the only solution they can come up with within their minds. Depending on their personality, they may just come right out and say that you are crazy and the things you speak about sound insane. You will be accused of suffering from serious depression, or that you are going through a midlife crisis and anything else that makes sense in the minds of others. Keep in mind that you are very vulnerable and open like never before during this time, and you do not need anyone projecting any misbeliefs that can harm you. If you are in a relationship, your partner is close to you, so they are going to notice that something is going on with you and eventually want answers, so you will need to share this with them. Just be mindful of the words you use and the way that you explain it because the average person has no idea about these kinds of things. You just need to know the right time, the correct way to present the information so that you do not scare them or push them away. At this point, you only want to participate in things that will help you move forward in your spiritual awakening faster instead of things or people that will hinder you. Ask yourself are the people around you are aware and awake, or if they even have a basic understanding of what goes on during this time. If you have these individuals around, that is amazing, so yes, share this special time in your life with them. When you are blessed with the support of someone who may be on their spiritual path, this can make your journey easier and even more interesting. You will have the privilege of having someone close to you who can offer advice and share their story as well as explain certain stages to you. Unfortunately, most people do not have a lot of people around them with awareness. So if you do have these special individuals close to you, take advantage of their presence in your life. Share your stories with them as much as possible. You should spend plenty of time with them as well. If the people around you are not in this place, take some time before you share this awakening with them until you are feeling stronger and are secure in your power. There is going to come a time when spiritual awakenings are so common that everyone is going to know about them, and there will be a universal understanding of how to support each other during a spiritual awakening. We have not come to that point as of yet. Unfortunately, the majority of people on the planet are still not awake or aware of what goes on. This process is usually mistaken for a mental illness, a nervous breakdown, or a midlife crisis. There have been many different terms used to describe it. There have been many instances where the partner or family member of the empath has advised them to consider medication, and this suggestion was taken. The empathy went to a doctor, expressed what was happening, and was quickly placed on some kind of antidepressant. Now your awakening process has been prolonged and it will take longer than necessary, which will slow down the natural flow of your abilities. Empath support. You are already seeking out support by simply taking one small step and purchasing this book. You are already mindful that you are going to need support to assist you with your gift. By now, you have come into your power, so it is time to begin to start your journey of educating and supporting by sharing your story with others. If you do not have spiritually awake people in your life, that is fine. You can share your experiences with strangers if necessary. As long as you are out there trying to connect with others like you, sharing your story and helping other empathy understand their journey, you are on the right track. Your focus should be on finding support, whether it is watching videos, reading books, downloading ebooks, and whatever else you need to do to find support and expand your knowledge. There is a community of these people out there, and we are slowly being universally connected, which is cool. So remember to seek out those who may be going through the same experiences so that you can support each other. This is a great way to ensure that you are not being influenced by people who are not awakened at the time, to keep you protected from their beliefs while you are open and vulnerable. There is a natural belief that everyone deserves a break, and most people are out here doing the best that they can. This type of thinking is the reason so many empathetic people feel so much lighter than everyone else. They are free, full of hope, and very optimistic about the world. No patience for anyone who is deceitful or pretending to be someone other than who they are, and you are not able to tolerate any type of games because you can see things now. Awakenings are difficult, but as soon as it is over, your energy is more stable. You feel more in touch with your power and have an idea as to how to manage it. Now there is no need to run away from people or places anymore, thanks to coming to terms with your awakening. The whole process was to prepare you so that you could exist in regular everyday life and bring the light of spirit with you wherever you go. You are not here to run away and live a secluded, isolated lifestyle. You were meant to bring spiritual awakening to others on the planet. As soon as you come out of the awakening process, you are more stable in your power, and you know that you can influence the energies around you. Before you woke up, you always felt the need to leave the environment where the energy was negative, but now you know how to block it. You still feel the need for deep peace and your quiet time, but you are not into the habit of isolating yourself from people anymore. That is the difference. Your ability to manage your emotions and deflect energies is amazing and gives you much confidence knowing that you have that kind of power. Being mindful of what to do for yourself to calm down when you are feeling anxious, nervous, or even worried about certain things in your life is an exceptional skill to have. Surrender. The best way to come into your power is to surrender to the process. Allow yourself to surrender to God, the planet, and your spirit guide so that your heart is all the way opened up. Once you begin to surrender, you make room for the spiritual process to continue, and you will become deeper in your thoughts and your feelings. The fear you consistently feel will instantly go away as you are now powerful enough to reframe the thoughts that were causing you to be afraid. The fear will still show up, the difference will be the time that it lasts within your mind. It will go away much quicker now that you are aware. Once again, the best way to combat that fear is to identify the thought that is causing the fear very quickly. Take a deep breath and then move on. The key is to allow yourself to feel the emotion, and then you can go in and replace the thought that is causing it. Your life moves into a new cycle where your energy field is stronger and more magnetic, meaning that things generally happen more quickly to you. The manifestation process goes faster, synchronicities pop up more often and quicker than ever before thanks to that magnetic energy. You are now able to withstand those negative and harsh energies that made you run and hide before the spiritual awakening that you have experienced. I have heard of cases where the person kept themselves isolated for up to 10 years before having a breakthrough in their spirit. Once you start to engage and interact with people regularly, your energy will get stronger and stronger. You should be able to go anywhere you want to go once this process is completed, because you know that your purpose is to carry your light into those dark places and let it shine. You are still going to be emotionally sensitive, but your energy field has become more stabilized so you can block those nasty energies. What to do after awakening? The first thing you do is keep doing what you have been doing. This is very important to remember so that you do not forget about those small basic things you have done. You must continue with all of the spiritual practices that you were doing all along. You do not want to stop just because you woke up. These are the small things that got you where you are, and you are going to need them to stay in your power and master those abilities. As you move through life, you may go through different cycles of life. We go up and we go back down again. That is what life is all about. There are so many quantum changes that you are going through. Just remember, life is all about ups and downs, so stay prepared for these changes to come your way. There is no steady line going upward or straight across. Life is messy and things will never be perfect, so learn to rise above those negative thoughts and replace them. The other important thing you need to do is get out of the way and stay out of the way, because all of these changes are occurring by the command of your soul and higher self. You may not even really notice many of the changes. You may be feeling things, but you are still trying to take everything in and process it. You are not going to be in control of these things or any spiritual change that occurs on the quantum level. It happens right at that moment in that world. Quantum change occurs within the spiritual components of what you see and what you cannot see, and these changes occur immediately. What happens when you go through all of these spiritual changes? You find there are plenty of old thought patterns hanging around trying to get into your mind. This can be a difficult time while you allow your brain time to start rewiring itself, because it can take a long time, sometimes a few years. Refocus. It is very common for you to be going on with your day feeling great, and then a negative thought pops into your head, but this is where the skill of refocusing comes in. You need to be good at positive self-talk and making sure that you do not fall into the pit of negativity and darkness. Remain compassionate and focused when you spot the negative thought. Refocus immediately and shift your mind to a more positive place and stay there for a few moments. When you take the time to refocus, it is so important because it tells the brain to find the changes that occurred and locate them. Pay close attention to what your mind is thinking, and then immediately you are going to refocus your mind on something else. This gets easier the more that you practice it. Another great way to combat this is to write those bad thoughts down in a journal. It is another form of releasing that negative energy and get rid of those thoughts. There are a few mantras that can help you get to deal with those quick mental interruptions that occur very often. You can tell yourself that you have infinite abundance, all is okay, you receive everything that you need, and the most powerful one is that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. This is another refocusing exercise that will force your mind to think about something else, and your brain will begin to repeat those new thoughts back to you. This is the process of the brain laying down neural networks, where you have to have a point of focus and then your brain rewires itself to focus on something else. Another way to look at it is like starting a new habit. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes for you. Keep energy moving. When you are walking in your power and realize your empathetic abilities, you also need to make sure that you keep your energy moving as much as possible. There are many easy and natural ways to go about this. You can exercise when you wake up in the morning, go for a walk or run, anything to get the blood flowing. You do not need to have elaborate spiritual practices or special workout plans, just figure out a way to keep the energy moving. You can move energy with like Tai Chi or Qi Gong, which is a great way to get the energy moving. Actually, dancing is one of the best ways to accomplish this. You can come up with some very creative ways to move your body. There does not have to be any skill or talent involved, just get moving. I will turn on my music and just go hard for a while. When you do that, it feels like you have just dumped all of your emotions into the ocean. You feel so free afterward, and your mind is automatically focused on what you can do next to continue the feeling of freedom that you are experiencing. The best time to move your energy is as soon as you get out of bed in the morning. It is a wonderful way to keep moving energy throughout the day. You can develop many small daily routines to assist you. Stand tall, close your eyes and visualize a light shower falling onto your body. This is literally like a shower, but it is made out of light instead of water and is coming over your head down to the bottom of your feet. Take a moment to visualize all of the stuff that needs to change or completely go away and come up with creative ways to make that happen for yourself. Meditation before you go to work in the morning, or anything that you can do to make sure that your energy is moving, and you only need to do it a few minutes a day. There is no need to spend an hour in the morning doing this. You can use up about 20 minutes of your day and then get on with your business. The new you. Many people assume that because they experienced this major awakening, that cycle had ended, they can just go back to their usual lives, and everything will be okay. First of all, you will never be able to go back to living the way that you did before your awakening, and nothing is going to be the same for you. You feel much deeper, you even think on a much deeper level, and you love much harder than you did before. Another thing to realize is that your spiritual hygiene is just as important as physical hygiene. You take a shower every day, so you need to clean your spirit daily as well. Your spiritual hygiene continues to be important even after your spiritual awakening takes place, so keep in mind to move that energy daily. It is just that simple. You need to reinforce your commitment to continuing deepening my awareness while also continuing to being of service. Use those daily mantras to set your intentions and send them to the universe multiple times a day. This is a good way to stay committed to your spiritual training. You have made a promise to yourself to never close your heart down again, especially when the ego is trying to shut down because of some sort of pain. This may happen in your outer environment. No worries, just pause, take a deep breath, and tap on your chest while stating that you commit to the process and will not ever shut down or check out again. Keep opening up to life and to the practice of remaining open, and make a decision not to close down no matter what happens. Stay open, surrendered, sensitive, and vulnerable. This is the way to live, so continue to make this kind of commitments in your life even after your spiritual awakening ends. Spiritual emergency. This is a highly disruptive spiritual process that occurs in your mind, body, and your soul, and it is so rapid and dramatic that it will disturb your entire life. It could be an outside event or something that happened in your life which brings on this emergency. Some women say they experienced this during childbirth, others said it was due to the loss of a loved, and some say it occurred because they lost an important relationship. Going through the loss of your job, an accident, a life-threatening disease or near-death experience can also cause you to go through this. It is something so destructive that it changes your whole world and disrupts your day-to-day life. There are two distinguishing characteristics between a spiritual emergency and spiritual awakening: the intensity and the period. Many people will use this term when things get so severe that they are not able to handle what they are experiencing. Many times the emergency will come on so suddenly that you do not even have time to figure out what has happened unless you are skilled. You can be in meditation and without even knowing what is going on, and your energy circulated through you from one minute to the next, so when you open your eyes, and your entire world had completely changed. Now you are so confused and unable to explain how it is possible that some kind of quantum leap happened during your spiritual emergency and shifted your life views and your reality. This is something that usually happens and ends very quickly, while the awakening can last for years. The process that you go through during a spiritual awakening is very intense. A spiritual emergency takes a spiritual awakening and turns the volume up. The spiritual emergency is so much more intense than a general awakening. When you are in a spiritual emergency, you feel like your life is just falling completely apart in every way possible. You want to get to a point where you can discern whether you are going through a spiritual awakening or a spiritual emergency. Let's say that you are going through a spiritual emergency and you call up your best friend who is not at all spiritual, so they will have no idea what is going on with you. Now you begin to let them know that you can access memories from your past lives, and you have begun talking to your angels. The first thing they are going to do is ask if you are feeling okay. Then they will most likely offer you the number to their therapist or psychiatrist. Most likely, you do not need therapy because you are not having a mental breakdown or anything like that, so be mindful of the advice you take. His is what we discussed earlier. The perception or fear of someone else could be projected onto you, and you may believe it. This can cause so much damage and make things so much worse, simply because of being uneducated. I know of situations where the empathetic person ended up locked in a psych ward on a 72-hour hold and end up being admitted to a mental hospital and heavily medicated. This is no joke. So please be careful who you share this information with, so you do not end up somewhere out of commission and sedated. Quick change. During a spiritual emergency, there will be a period where you will experience a complete and rapid shift in the way that you see reality. Most of the time, it is so quick that it becomes very jarring and extremely frightening for the person going through this. They usually have no idea what they are feeling. So naturally, they will not have any idea why they are having these emotions. I have heard multiple stories where the individual may be meditating, and when they open their eyes, there is a sudden connection to the spirit world. Within a second and without any notice, they are immediately affected by hundreds of emotions and issues going on in the world. When you are becoming connected with the spiritual world, these types of things happen very quickly. Most of the time it occurred in a fraction of a second. Not only is this difficult to understand and process, but you are also extremely overwhelmed by that sudden change in your spirit. This has caused many of them to shy away from meditation or any kind of relaxing mind therapy, as they are afraid to experience that immediate thrust of different emotions into their spirit. The fact that they had no idea how to handle something as emotionally massive as this, the experience has sent them further into seclusion. So the key here is to be mindful of the things that you may have to endure in order to get closer in touch with your abilities and come into your power. If you have already gone through these things, this should help you to understand what is happening to you. You will be able to prepare yourself for other symptoms that may show up during your experience. It is going to have a huge impact on your entire life, and it will seem as if your whole world is severely impacted in a negative way. These thoughts and feelings are natural, and they will pass with time as you become stronger and learn how to manage things during this time. This is what you will need to focus on from now until the end of your life. Many people have decided that they need to quit their jobs suddenly during this process, and they would do so without a second thought. This is because they are listening to and trusting their spirit guides, and they feel safe and secure following what they are led to do. You may also notice that you can no longer be around certain people due to the fact that you are able to see directly into their spirit and you can tell who they really are. Many of those who have been around you for the most part of your adult life will probably be the ones that you cut off suddenly. This is the time that you realize that they never served any purpose in your life. They are not supportive, and many of them have no desire to help others. Being of assistance to others is a huge part of your personality, so you cannot tolerate those individuals who come off as heartless and cold or have no meaning about themselves. There is a small period of depression that takes place where the person complains that they are not even able to get out of bed or do simple things like shower, eat, and bathe. This is how debilitating they can temporarily feel during this time. But the good thing is it will not last too long, so it is manageable. When they are severely impacted by this, their lives become too difficult to maintain, and participating in normal activities of everyday life seems impossible. There are millions of us going through spiritual awakenings, and we can still maintain somewhat of a normal life. We can continue to hold our job, keep making money and living a regular life. There are some cases where it is so overwhelming to that person and they are not able to get up and go about their day. They just want to stay in bed with the covers over their heads. You now have rapid and unlimited access to universal consciousness, which means that you basically connect with the mind of God, which makes you feel like you have this downpour of love falling onto you. This can be very overwhelming because you are going to begin to receive an enormous amount of information that you will not be sure what to do with or how to process it. There are just too many thoughts, facts, and thousands of other random things running through your mind, and this can be exhausting. When your system opens up that quickly and so dramatically that it is almost like the whole world is trying to take over your brain. This rapid download of information can be very frightening for people, even if they do understand what is happening. It is a lot to try and take in while it is going on. Now you start to feel that you have more knowledge, you know about the nature of reality and have access to a deeper truth. You have first-hand knowledge about the way things truly work, about the world, events that have taken place and the things that our government has lied about. This can be very stressful for you because, unlike the rest of the world, you cannot run away and hide from what the truth is. It lives within you now. Your brain is constantly receiving information whether you think that you are ready for it or not. It just keeps coming at an alarmingly high rate. The second coming. You may experience what is called the God syndrome when you tap into universal consciousness. Very frequently what happens is the mind starts to receive all this information, and the ego begins to interpret it as you having the mind of God. Many people say that they all of a sudden began to feel as if they were Jesus, Buddha, or another popular world leader who had a super special mission to complete. They actually believe that they are the only ones who will be able to complete this mission and were sent to do just that as well as to save the world. Some of them actually believe that they will be around to witness the second coming of Jesus because of what they believe they have seen in the spirit world. This is why the ego is able to take over at this point. There is so much information that has been made available, the ego makes them believe that they are special. This is an overinflation of your ego that will eventually quiet down. This may happen slowly as you begin to understand this is part of the process and you are not actually Jesus or Buddha. You are not here as the second coming, but you are here to do something very special and you need to tap into the right energies so you can be aware of what that is. Your ego will begin to quiet down and you will no longer have these delusions of grandeur anymore, and this is when the understanding of your true mission can begin. You do have a very unique purpose and mission to be accomplished, but your ego needs time to deflate a little bit so that you can become more humble. In reality, the mind of God is not arrogant at all, and there are no delusions of grandeur in the mind of God, so this God syndrome is something that is common during a spiritual emergency. When you begin to feel overwhelmed from these thousands of downloads, take a nice, slow, deep breath and recognize that your ego has been interpreting being connected to universal consciousness in the wrong way. Medical mistakes. When you experience altered states of consciousness, this is really common when you are experiencing a spiritual emergency. Your system can open up so quickly that you begin to have immediate contact with the spirit world. This allows you access to different levels of consciousness. You are able to speak to spirit guides, and you have the ability to channel all types of information from the universe. Multiple things can be happening to you during this time. You can be talking to angels, and you will have the ability to access and converse with departed loved ones. There have been thousands of empathetic individuals who have stated that during this stage, they are able to experience different timelines as well. You will also access memories that may be from your current life, or they could be from multiple past lives that you have lived in different times. The difficult thing about this part of the process is that those memories can sometimes be very horrific, so the emotions attached to them will have a serious and negative effect on you. You are going to have to experience the feelings and emotions all over again, which can cause temporary trauma, but the good news is that you are aware and mindful of what may happen. The downside of this is the reality that most people end up in a therapist or doctor's office trying to figure out why they have this mental breakdown. The reason they believe they have this breakdown is because of what they were told by their friends and family. This is the only definition the friends and family could come up with because they do not understand the spirit world. This is why it is imperative to be mindful of when is a good time to share your awakening with other people and who you should tell. When they finally admitted the things that they were thinking and feeling, those individuals immediately suggested the empathetic person go and seek medical attention. Out of frustration and hopelessness, they end up sitting in front of a doctor trying to explain the things that have been going on in their mind and how they have not been able to sleep at night. Many doctors already believe they know what is going on when they hear the symptoms of these individuals, so they have a consistent plan in place for these types. Depending on the doctor you visit, and how much information you give them, they might actually place you on a 90-day psyche hold. During this time, they are going to want for you to go through a mental evaluation so they can determine if the person is going to need ongoing psychiatric care. Certain doctors have spiritual awareness too. They have a basic understanding of what some of these patients are trying to explain, but this is only a few. Most of them will go the route of mental evaluations and psyche medication because this is what they are familiar with. Western society has been known to mistake visions for hallucinations while making sure these individuals are heavily medicated, which only makes them worse. Unfortunately, the Western modern world is not prepared to offer assistance to those who experience spiritual emergencies because they will only see it as a mental illness. The most common misdiagnosis for experiencing altered states of consciousness is psychosis hallucinations when they are actually communicating with their spirit guides. Even in the area of transpersonal psychology, they tend to make the same types of mistakes in terms of the symptoms for psychosis. Both sides. This is something else that seems to take these individuals by storm. They finally accept that they are able to access all of these beautiful and amazing things. They are feeling so special and blessed they want to let everyone know how wonderful it is to be connected to this world. Then there is the other side of this, which is much darker and can be extremely horrifying. Not only are you able to access those wonderful things, your spirit is also connecting with the darker spirits that are out there. This means that they may be able to see all kinds of demons and spirits with very ugly intentions, so this side quickly brings you into reality very quickly. Now you realize this access can actually expose you to some of the darkest things in which you could have never even imagined. There is a light at the end of this tunnel, so be mindful of the fact that this stage is something that you will be able to work through with time. Talents and gifts flourish. This stage also happens very rapidly, and it is where your spiritual gifts and your talents just flourish very quickly. All of a sudden, the things that you seem to be good at, you are now exceptional at them. This can be a very exciting time for you, as your spiritual gifts that you already have will tend to explode and become much more intense. During this time, you may also begin to discover your gifts if you were not already aware of them. Like I stated earlier, this will happen very quickly. Remember, the time frame that goes along with spiritual emergencies is very short. Everything happens faster, so they can flourish or they can spontaneously move from one moment to the next. 1 minute you were not aware that you had this talent, and within 2 seconds, your spirit informs you that you are gifted. Now all of a sudden you have this ability and are not quite sure what to do with it, because you are not even sure if all of this is real or not. I had a friend who went through an emergency, and in a split second, she realized that she was able to channel healing energies from her hands. This was not something that she had been aware of before that moment, and it frightened her at first. Fortunately, she was aware of her empathetic abilities but was not emotionally mature enough to take full advantage of those skills. Gift of sight. Some have called this their third eye, while others, who may be more religious, have been known to refer to it as the seeing eye. They believe those who are blessed with this were sent here by God to spot demons. The empathetic individuals who have spoken about this gift openly have all stated that they are able to see auras around people, or they can detect electromagnetic fields around certain things. An unskilled individual who had spiritual gifts flourish in an instant will be terrified, especially if they have no idea of the spirit world. This has caused many to feel as though they were suffering from temporary insanity, due to the fact that they have all of a sudden began to see things around people everywhere they go. This is also another stage that has caused many to go into isolation, because they are feeling all of these crazy emotions or seeing bright colors around people they come into contact with. Empathetic individuals have different levels of gifts, while most of them display a cluster of abilities, meaning they have all of the gifts. This can also be frightening because their awareness usually happens so suddenly, they do not have time to process what has happened. 1 minute you do not have any spiritual gifts at all, then out of nowhere, you suddenly possess all of these special abilities and gifts with the power to use them. If you are not a spiritual person, this can cause some temporary mental issues. You are probably going to be in a state of denial at first. Just take a moment to imagine this happening to someone who has no idea about being spiritual, or even worse, someone who was not taught about God. Think about it. You are just sitting at home minding your business and watching TV, then all of a sudden you find yourself able to connect to the spirit world. You would be scared out of your mind and probably hesitant to tell anyone at first, out of disbelief. Spiritual awakenings and emergencies are happening all over the world. Unconscious material is coming to the surface during the stages of these events. When you are going through a spiritual emergency, your unconscious mind starts to dump out all of its contents, and that includes everything from all of your lives, past and present. Your unconscious mind stores everything that has ever happened to you, not just in this lifetime but from all of your previous lifetimes. The reason that it brings all of these things to the present is so that you can be healed and come into awareness of your conscious mind. Many times what happens is the unconscious material that you had no recollection or memory of will suddenly appear in your memory. This is your spirit's way to ensure that this necessary healing takes place. I have had people who shared with me that during their spiritual emergency, they suddenly remembered that they were sexually molested. Others reported that they started having flashbacks out of nowhere, reminding them of something else horrible they experienced during their childhood. More spiritually mature individuals have spoken about actually having direct access to their past lives, which horrified them to the point of checking themselves into a mental facility. Even though they were mature and well aware of the gifts and power, they still were not able to handle the reality of what they had to endure in that past life. His is where the damage can be done. Some people eventually place themselves at the mercy of a medical doctor who may not understand the spirit world at all. This usually ends up in disaster, and the empathetic individual are never fully coming into their power at all and living a life on psychotic medications they do not need. This is the reality of what happens more often than not. It can turn out very sad for these special individuals who were sent here to assist the rest of the world. Extreme mood changes. It is very common for an empathetic individual to be completely happy one moment, and the very next, they can be feeling extremely down and depressed. Their intense emotional states can change so quickly that they do not even have time to adjust or understand what is occurring. They will have people in their faces yelling about the fact that they just completely changed up and want to know why you are behaving that way. Most of the time, you will be in a state of confusion, so you will not be able to provide them with the answer that they want. During these mind-blowing quick shifts between emotions, that individual will be very lost, feeling ungrounded and unsure of what to do with themselves. The biggest part of their confusion is trying to figure out how they could feel so happy one minute and then feel as if their life was over in the next moment. This is when the unconscious mind is spilling out content and your emotional body is doing the same thing simultaneously. All of that hidden emotional content that has been repressed is now being pushed to the surface so that it can be dealt with accordingly. Keep in mind, this content may be from your current life or one that you have lived previously, which explains all of the different emotions attached to the experience. Strange physical symptoms. There have been stories of empathetic individuals reporting that they feel energy buzzing all over the place no matter where they go. Others have stated that their body will actually vibrate as they feel waves of energy moving from the top of their body to the bottom of their feet. I have also heard of stories where the individual would get goosebumps all over their body whenever they would come into contact with a spiritual presence. Some people had even said that their body would fill up with intense heat during the moment they were receiving information, while others reported very bad aches and pains. These symptoms would come out of nowhere, and all with them became all kinds of different emotions and thoughts. It is not uncommon for these individuals to end up actually getting diagnosed with serious physical medical conditions during this time. The body breaks down when you are experiencing a spiritual emergency, so it makes sense for your system to react in a negative way and become vulnerable. This brings us back to the medicine factor. After the physical diagnosis, they were prescribed Western medicine that they do not need. The pain they experienced was due to the constant mental stress caused by the stages of their spiritual emergency. You can survive. If you are wondering if you are strong enough to survive a spiritual emergency, do not worry, you will make it through this challenging time. Just keep in mind, even though it may be very intense, it is only going to last for a very short time period. There are a few ways to help you remain calm during this survival mode. Calm your fear. When you have so much going on in your life, with everything moving so quickly, this can be very disruptive and overwhelming for you, which can breed fear. Going through spiritual emergencies can bring about chronic stress and anxiety to the person. Since you are reading this book, it should provide you with some insight so you will at least be aware of what is happening to you. This will lessen the amount of fear that you feel since you have learned how to work through this since you are educating yourself on the topic. You may begin to have panic attacks and anxiety, all types of things due to the fact that your system is going through a difficult process. Adding fear on top fear is a very dangerous thing to do to yourself. It is one of the most toxic emotions for the human nervous system to take in and process. This negative emotion was not made to be in our bodies for too long, since our bodies were not built to withstand stress for extended periods of time. Our precious nervous systems are very sensitive to stress and fear, so it is essential for you to do your best to calm the fear down and try to soothe yourself. The paragraph that you just read should already be assisting you with the process of truly calming down. The fact that you have a basic understanding of being empathetic will automatically bring on a soothing feeling into your system, which will calm you down. In addition to that, you have been exposed to many tips and suggestions that will help you manage your abilities and come into your power. The best thing to do is to be mindful of those things that helps you to relax and practice that as much as you possibly can. Even when you may not necessarily need to calm down, making it a habit to practice these things for consistent self-care. You can get away with a nice hot bubble bath, meditation, exercising, or just taking an hour to be still and think. Positive self-talk works really well during this period as well. You can remind yourself that you are not crazy, you are not seeing things, and you are definitely not mentally ill. Detach. Hours of meditation, plenty of mindfulness, and consistent repetition, and eventually, you will have mastered the skill of being able to observe from a distance. It is all a matter of perception and learning how to remain still in the middle of a storm and be able to calm others down as well. Learn to look at things from a distance. Think of it like you are moving to the back row in a movie theater. You are still watching the movie, but you are not right up in front of the screen. Whatever is happening and the image that is in your head had a tremendous effect on you when you were close to it, but moving further back changed the intensity level. Since you are now watching the same thing from further away, the way it triggers your emotions are completely different, and this is a good way to view your self-care. The idea is to practice observing your thoughts and watching them from a distance. This will have an impact on the way that you respond to those thoughts. Those disturbing thought forms will continue to show up, and the best thing to do is practice observing the thoughts from a distance. This will help you remain focused. When these thoughts begin to surface, they can be very disorienting, and they make no sense, but it is not important for them to make sense. The key is to acknowledge them, view them from a distance, and then let them go. You will feel the urge to try and figure things out, but you need to resist that temptation and wait for the answers to come naturally. Your frustration level is starting to rise as your mind wants to know why these emotions can suddenly appear, but the answers seem to take so much longer to surface. Once again, this is just your ego trying to come in and take control over the process, but you need to keep that ego in check and out of the way of your progress. Converse. During this difficult process, positive self-talk is very effective, and you need to have consistent conversations with yourself, the universe, and God. This is the time that you want to trust that your spirit guides are working in your favor and they know what is best for you. The more you connect to them and listen, the more quicker you will be able to hear what they are saying to you. Now we are going to revisit the idea of observing from a distance. This is not only about moving back on a physical level, you must learn to remove yourself mentally as well. You do not want to be in an emotional space where you are looking at the movie and feel like taking off your shoe and throwing it at the screen. You need to be in a place where you are able to look at whatever is on that screen and not allow it to affect you emotionally. This will take work but can be mastered. I understand that this may all seem foreign to you, but you do not need a detailed explanation, because that is when your ego thinks it can slide back in. The ego will feel like you are stroking it when you continue to seek for answers that are going to come naturally in the time designed by the universe. This is why it is so important to keep that ego in the back of the closet where it belongs, so it does not slow down your progress by trying to take control. It can have a very negative effect on you when these horrible emotions just spring up out of nowhere, but you need to try and exercise patience. Be mindful that it is possible to observe things, absorb emotions, and not be consumed by any of it, since you are able to control your reactions. Have faith that you will receive the information that you need in order to make it through this frightening stage of your life. You should be good at observing everything that happens in your internal environment without becoming involved or attached to it, no matter what it is. Whether it is a thought or a feeling, you need to allow yourself to feel it, then move on and let it go. Stay grounded. Keep yourself grounded as much as possible. This is the solid base that you will always be able to stand on. Find places and objects that make you feel calm and relaxed. For many people, spending time in nature is a great way to feel grounded. The more time you spend in nature and focused on the things that God put here for us to take advantage of, the more free your mind will become. I know of someone who will go outside and literally sit with her eyes closed and hold on to different types of rocks for hours and hours. This is what makes her feel fulfilled and calm as well. She loves to take time to get familiar with all of the different textures of the rocks. I know another person who likes to go to the beach and spend hours sifting the sand through their fingers, and this makes them feel more connected with nature. Both of these individuals had no idea why they felt the need to do these things, but they surrendered and continued them anyway. Later on, they would learn exactly why they were doing those things, and they found great pleasure knowing that they were actually strengthening their empathetic abilities. There is no need to try and come with something that is too elaborate, just do something very simple. It could be smelling flowers, grabbing rocks, or picking leaves from a tree. These things sound and seem small, but believe me, having this type of knowledge can make a world of difference when you're going through a spiritual emergency. It is imperative to find a way to keep yourself grounded with things like meditation and exercise. Thanks to this book, you have discovered a few other ways to help keep yourself grounded. Your 5 senses. Your 5 senses are crucial when it comes to grounding yourself, using these senses that are naturally built into us in order to interpret 3D reality. When you make it a conscious decision to use those 5 senses and put your 6th sense to the side for a little bit, this helps you to stay grounded. The act of sifting sand through your fingers or squeezing rocks to observe texture can be very soothing and grounding for someone. It is all a matter of taking self-inventory and find out what works for you and what does not. Everything is not for everyone. The thought of squeezing rocks may sound strange to you, but another empathetic person may think that it is an excellent idea that they plan to try out. Tactile information can be very grounding, so I would suggest you try it out in one way or another. You can simply put your hands in the earth, feel the dirt, pick through the field of grass, or you could even go and pick up rocks and hold them in your hand. These are just a few suggestions and tips. There are so many ways that you can connect with nature, heaven, and the earth. Another way I have heard about is spending time in a flower garden and using hours to observe the way the insides of the flower is designed. From what I have heard, there are literally thousands of different patterns inside of the various flowers that we have here on Earth. I have also heard of a young fellow who spends hours out of his weekends to connect with the trees. He believes that his spirit guides send most of his messages through the leaves on the trees. This has become so important to him that he does not party with his friends that much anymore. His weekends are dedicated to his spiritual growth. This is very impressive for a young man to display these signs. We do not usually hear these types of things about our young men. Most of our young men are into women, bars, sports, and cars. Anything other than those topics will fall on deaf ears of the common man on this planet. Be mindful and use your senses. You can look at beautiful flower beds, go to an art museum, observe and connect with the trees, and you can touch objects in order to connect with their texture. Listening to the sounds of birds and everything else going on around you is also very grounding, so use your 5 senses in these simple ways. For me, I find that I am grounded when I am working in my garden. There have been times when I planned to work for about an hour or so. I would find myself lost in time because without even realizing it, I had been out in my garden for hours and most of my day had passed me by. What I noticed was how free, calm, relaxed and fulfilled I felt after working in my garden. I have found my safe place. I feel a connection with each seed, plant and leaf that reside in my garden. There is no better place for me. I know someone who went through an emergency who had a clinical background, so she did not need to seek medical attention or feel like she had any diseases or anything. She looked at this as a blessing because she is well aware of the thousands of empathetic individuals who end up on the wrong path. Many of these people have no knowledge of the spirit world, let alone the fact that they possess these gifts. When they do find out, it can be too much to take in. The overwhelming fact that you all of a sudden have these gifts and abilities can really mess with your mind and make you wonder if you are going crazy or not. When there is no life-threatening situation that has happened, the individual may be able to go through their spiritual emergency alone without being drained by the stages. The positive side of experiencing a spiritual emergency is that it gives us so much insight and experience that we are able to help others get through their journey. If you are experiencing a spiritual emergency right now, there is nothing wrong with seeking help. Just do now allow the doctor to make you believe you are having mental issues. It is all about being conscious about who you are and what you seem to be going through. When you step into their office, inform them of the spiritual journey that you are on, explain a few of the stages if you are able to. This will give them something to work with. Whatever you choose to do, please do not isolate yourself. This will only lead to depression. Empaths and narcissists. Narcissistic personalities. They thrive on attention and making sure that someone is worshiping them at all times. They are attracted to people that they know that they can take advantage of, use up, and neglect as much as they feel. They also realize that this type of person will always try to please them. They will be loyal, love you unconditionally, and they take full advantage of this. Individuals with a narcissistic personality disorder do not have any type of empathy. They need constant admiration, and they are extremely insecure and sensitive. They are very well aware that these individuals are emotional sponges, which means that they can absorb feelings from other people very easily and want to fulfill their every need. They will go out of their way to make this person believe that they will always be there for them, take care of them and love them. This is their way of gaining the trust of the empathy. They present a false person or a representative, as I like to call it. They are sweet, charming, and can seem very loving and attentive. This act will continue until they feel that they no longer need to put it on. Once they have them where they want them, they will begin to show their true colors. The disrespect, abuse, and neglect will all come out now because they are comfortable that the empathy is not going anywhere. Now they will begin to experience the narcissist for who they are. They will see the coldness, punishing and the constant disrespect from this person. Spotlight on them. The narcissist is always going to want the spotlight on them, and if the attention is placed on someone else, the narcissist is going to do something to make sure that the attention gets focused back onto them. If that does not work and other attempts fail, they are going to want to leave that situation, or they will start speaking negatively about whoever is getting the attention. Most likely, they will never want to be around this group of people ever again because they were not the main focus of the event and did not get the attention that they need to survive. They must be able to control the narrative of the situation or they will become extremely uncomfortable, angry, and anxious. Before they leave, they will make it known how angry they are that the other person has stolen their attention and that everyone is paying attention to someone who is not as important as they are. They will most likely accuse that other person of trying to manipulate the situation and steal all the attention even though they are the ones that actually need all of that extra attention. That is just how a narcissist does things. As soon as they have them where they want them, they will begin to state all of their flaws. They will degrade them every chance that they get. They will also start to disrespect the way that they look as well. This is all an attempt to attack the self-esteem and confidence of that person, so they will never think they are worthy of being loved, and they will not believe there is anyone who will love them. In most cases, they will not even be thinking of themselves. They will be focused on how they can help or cure the narcissist because they believe with love, they can heal anyone. The way that they continue to string them along is by filling their head with false hope, making them believe that when they begin to act right, then they can get back their loving partner. This is another manipulation tactic, making them believe that they have done something to cause their abuse or mistreatment. By now, they have learned how to pull each string of their partner, and are well aware of how to keep them down. Since they have that general understanding that we are all human, who makes mistakes, they are more willing to be patient and forgive, which they believe will allow for personal growth. They are vulnerable to a long suffering because they will always believe and have faith in the fact that their partner says that they are wanting and trying to make changes within themselves. This is very important to them because their whole existence revolves around making things better, helping people evolve in life and being there to support someone when they are going through tough times. This is why the narcissist is always able to keep them around and keep them hanging on to hope because they truly believe that all humans deserve the chance to show that they have made a positive change. Even when it is apparent that they are being used and abused, they will still find a way in their heart and spirit to believe in that person, or at least feel obligated to find another way to help them. Narcissists seek out individuals who they believe that they can get the most usage out of. They actually set their sixth senses to sniff out people who are not the most confident. They already know what type of personality they need to thrive in their sickness, so they will do whatever it takes to win the affection of this person. They will treat them as if they were the most special person in the world, and they will make sure to do what is necessary to make them believe their deception. Because of their need to fix or heal everyone, they will excuse abusive behavior, ignore their own needs and continue to show compassion to the narcissist. They are always looking to shower people with love, care, and compassion, which is why they are so vulnerable to the types of personalities that pursue them. Stand your ground. If you are an empathetic person and you are involved with a narcissistic personality type, then you are going to need to learn to stand your ground, meet your own needs and stop making excuses for their toxic behavior. This will get you into the habit of making sure they are carrying their emotional baggage so that you are not the one holding that weight on your shoulders. You want to make sure that you are independent within your relationship. This is for your emotional protection, your self-worth, your confidence, and your independence. You are going to have to set boundaries and limits to ensure that you are not being taken advantage of and that they are well aware of the things that you are not going to deal with. Be prepared for them to challenge you in every way possible because they have gotten used to making sure that you feel inadequate and not worthy of love. They had every intention to keep you in this state of mind so that they could continue to get what they needed and wanted from you. Know the games. Do not fall for those manipulation type of games. Let them know that you are well aware of what they are trying to do and do not let them make you feel bad or guilty when you do not do what they want you to do. They are going to try all types of manipulation tactics to try and get you back under their control, but stand strong and resist their attempt to mess with your head. The best way to deal with a narcissist is to get as far away from them as you can. But if you choose to stay in that relationship, you need to know how to protect yourself. Do not allow them to make you feel bad for the bad decisions that they have made in their lives. This is not your weight or burden to carry. Make sure that you let them know that you are not responsible for another grown person who is capable of making their own decisions and choices. Empaths are attracted to narcissists, opposites attract. This is one of the worst situations for an empathetic person to be in. It is never a good connection because the two are like parallel lines, which will never connect. They are very uncomfortable with someone being in pain, have a tendency to forgive easily, which makes them a perfect target for the narcissist. This is never a good match, because the empathetic ones are so understanding that they tend to forgive everything the narcissist does to disrespect and abuse them. This most likely will result in the narcissist completely using, dismissing, and degrading the empathy, while they continue to create more drama and chaos. Most times, they are drawn or attracted to one another for all of the wrong reasons, so the relationship usually never has a chance to become a healthy one. This is usually a toxic situation, which always ends up in a disaster. Beautiful beginning. It does not take long for that beauty to go away and the ugly reality sets in. The narcissist will do everything in their heart to show they are loving, caring, and sincere. They make the sparks fly so high in the beginning and things are so electrifying that it just sweeps the other person off of their feet. They always start as the sweetest, most romantic and understanding people that you have ever met, but they cannot hide the monster for too long. They are falling in love, full of bliss, then the reality of who they are in the relationship begins to show up and take over the situation. The narcissist has made a habit of making sure that they feel miserable, dependent on them and guilty for questioning them in any way at all. The next thing you know, months have passed, and the empathetic person is in a toxic situation that they see no way get out of. Now they have lost their light and their empathic abilities because they have fallen into a world of negativity, abuse, and neglect. Dangerous bond. That whole hamster in a wheel type of existence will have an empathetic person trapped and feeling like there is nowhere else to go, which enables this trauma bond between the victim and the abuser. Now, they are at a point where they feel like it is not possible to get away, or they may feel guilty because they still feel the need to fix or help that person, so they continue to stay in the relationship. When you have empathetic abilities, this will automatically allow you to take a look at yourself, your shortcomings and flaws, which can be taken advantage of when bonding with the wrong type of individual. Many times, they will fall into abusive or toxic relationships, usually with a narcissist, because they always have the belief that they can save that person. This usually does not end up good for them, because they get caught up in a dangerous cycle of abuse, trauma, and toxicity, from trying to fix their abuser. The need to fix or heal. In many ways, they will begin to look at themselves as the problem and wonder what is wrong with them, all because they have not been able to help that toxic person in their life. This is when that dangerous bond, also known as the trauma bond, because now they are trying to see what needs to be changed within themselves, instead of the other person. Even when they are well aware that they are in a toxic or abusive relationship, they are focused on the feelings that they have for the abuser, the help that the abuser needs, and how much everyone has abandoned the abuser. They have now forgotten all about their own needs, their self-worth, and there is not any self-esteem present while they are allowing themselves to be used and abused by some loser. Many times, they have allowed their boundaries and limits to be not only crossed but crushed, which allows the narcissist room to thrive and grow because they have smelled a weakness. They are so loyal that because of this dangerous bond, they are allowing all kinds of disrespect, abuse, dismissal, and neglect to go on in their lives, all because they feel obligated to be there for someone who is abusing them. It will usually take them a while to realize that their partner has taken advantage of the fact that they are extremely understanding, emotionally available, vulnerable, and very forgiving. Codependent. These individuals easily feel guilty, ashamed, or fearful for things they did not even do. This is a very common thing that they go through. Surviving sexual abuse or any sort of emotional manipulation or trauma growing up, these feelings will double and they can easily be convinced that they are doing something wrong simply because of that ability to feel the reality so deeply. The codependent trait is very real. They do not allow themselves to feel because they will always feel as if they are wrong even when they are not, which makes them a target for manipulative personality types. Those who prey upon the weak, they sniff out people-pleasing individuals who will allow themselves to be controlled and taken advantage of. Even when they feel that they do not deserve what they are going through, their mind will tell them that they have done something to earn that treatment. Get out of your comfort zone. Come into your power. There is no longer a need for you to continue running away, to keep hiding and isolating yourself because you would much rather avoid negative environments or people. Even though running and hiding makes you feel safe, you have to leave that comfort zone so that you can become emotionally mature and grow. You cannot allow that fear to imprison your power. It is time to take a deep breath, find that 3 seconds of courage, and keep it moving. This is the time for you to realize that when you come into contact with negative energy or situation, you have the power to influence things and change that energy immediately. Embrace change. You should be in the habit of embracing any positive changes in your life, finding the courage every day to challenge yourself and be ready to take on something new. You must remain committed to the idea of change and starting a new life so that you will now be able to bring clarity to the choices that you make. Just like any new journey, it is important to know what you need for you to have peace and safety. Showing the courage for change, celebrate the process because it may take a lot of hard work and plenty of time to see positive changes in your life. The process of change can be a very long road, so take the time to celebrate each step that you were able to accomplish. 30 days without routines. This is a great way to challenge yourself and prepare yourself for a new life of adventure, new things, and getting rid of your daily routines. It is time for you to get up and try new things, and you will not be able to do so if you have your mind programmed to do the same thing every day. You will be the first one to come up with a reason that you cannot do or try something because you are so locked into the idea of what you are used to doing every day. Go out and buy yourself a calendar, even if you already have one. This is specifically for this exercise, so that you will have a visual aid during this new monthly journey. When you get up on that first day, do not do what you normally do. If the first thing you do is get coffee, then change that up and do something completely different. The second day, you should go and participate in an activity that you have never done before. Try a dance or yoga class at your neighborhood recreation center or community center. By the third day, your mind is already ready to do something different, because you have begun to break that cycle and insert new ideas and thoughts into your mind. It will be much easier from here on out because now you are curious about how this is going to affect you and how you live your life, so you are anxious to get up each day so that you can try something new. At this stage, you are now spending your days thinking of things that you can try. You are revisiting old conversations that you have had in the past, where you rejected ideas and suggestions. You are online, on the phone, and using the new people that have come into your life, to gain access to new things that you can try or dare yourself to do. This has become exciting for you as well. One of the best things about getting out of your comfort zone, starting new habits and going against your normal routine, is the feeling of independence that you get inside. After the first week, you should be close to an expert at getting yourself up and out of those old ways, routines, and habits. It can be a very exciting time because while you are going against your routines, your spirit will begin to open up even more so that you will be able to become the person that you were meant to be. Once you do this exercise for 30 days, you are not going to go back to whatever it was that you were doing, because now you have created a whole new life for yourself, which include new habits, new routines, and constantly challenging yourself. Curiosity about strangers. Most of the highly empathic people are naturally curious about everyone, especially strangers. They usually have no problem talking to the person sitting next to them on the bus, which some people will not do. All of us were born naturally inquisitive, but as we grow older and go through life experiences, that goes away along with the rest of our innocence. When it comes to strangers, making it a habit not to examine, just inquire and be very curious. This will expand your empathy when you communicate with people outside of your usual social circle, interacting and encountering individuals with different worldviews from your own. Curiosity is very good for us. It is a key character strength that will enhance the amount of satisfaction you get out of your life while being useful to combat the extreme loneliness that many people are struggling with. When cultivating curiosity, you need to do more than just have a general chat about the news. Your mission is always to try and understand how the mind of the other person works. You will meet strangers every day, so find a way to have a conversation with as many of them as you can. This will only build up your courage as well as your social skills. Expand your knowledge. Make sure that you read everything that you can. You should start with something that you have been interested in or curious about for a while. Go to the library and check out a book on that subject. This will get you into the habit of reading for research. Then you can move on to reading for entertainment. Once again, it is a good idea, to begin with, something that you want to learn more about. This way you will not have to consistently motivate yourself to read if it is something that you like. Take the time to be still. You can meditate, chant, or tap into mindfulness. This is a great way to focus on your spirituality and ensure a peaceful life. As you go further in your spiritual journey, you will begin to feel that the universe is constantly sending you messages and clues that keep you on your true path. You will start to experience more and more coincidences or undeniable signs that are meant to guide you to the deepest point of your spiritual connection. You might have maybe something as simple as having 4 different people tell you about the same movie, or you will connect with a kindred spirit randomly. You can always ask the universe for assistance or call on the angels for help when you need them. They are always ready to help. Asking for a sign or requesting help is a great way to speed up your awakening process and get through your training quicker. Practical tips to empathize with anyone. Active listening. Empathetic individuals do not need to practice this, because this is something else that just comes naturally for them to do. It is as if they were designed to listen to other people. These personality types listen so well that they will often remember facts and information told to them when the person who told them does not even remember. They are well aware of how to be an active participant in a conversation with someone, which involves responding, constant eye contact, and asking questions. For those of you who are working on your skills and training yourself to become more empathetic, just keep in mind, you are going to have to learn how to truly open up. Understanding, compassion, and the effort to show them that you are truly present and hearing everything that is being said to you will give them the feeling that you care about what they are saying. Learn to master your emotions. The most important part of processing difficult emotions is to stop trying to control them, but recognize it and allow yourself to go through the emotion. You can figure out a way to manage the way that you respond to certain situations and people. You are also going to need to learn how to manage your stress so that you can deal with changes and anxiety a little better. When you can remain calm in a difficult environment or situation, this shows that you are mature in your empathic abilities, and you are only getting stronger. Worth. You value your own emotions and what they tell you, which enables you to become more confident, and you begin to shine within your true empathetic abilities. The more that you demand an equal level of respect in all the relationships you choose to invest in, the more that you will receive, and if you do not get what you deserve, then you may have to walk away from them so that you can allow room for the more healthier ones to come into your life. In this way, these special individuals are excellent teachers of true reciprocity, so most of the time, if you are not doing your part, or holding up your end of the deal, then they will not stay around for you to continue this behavior. Challenge wrongs and injustice. We all have seen or heard things about someone being mistreated, hurt, or neglected, but there are only certain individuals who will feel in their spirit that they need to try and do something to make things better. Living in your truth, you will constantly find yourself on a mission to go out and fix things, speak for those who are silenced, and find justice for those who are less fortunate. Put yourself in their shoes. It is so easy to say what you would or would not do in certain situations, but until you find yourself faced with specific difficulties, you will not know what someone is going through. Most people have a difficult time showing empathy for others because they do not bother to take the time to think of how they would feel if it were happening to them. For a truly spiritual person, this will be something that is not hard to do, because they will be able to feel some of the emotions of that person. Imagining themselves in that person's shoes is never an issue for them. Many times, people will believe that they can do something better than someone else. This is when you should try experimental empathy, which can enhance their skills and understanding by getting the experience of what the other person has to go through. Try it out before you go and criticize someone else. You may find that it is not as easy as you thought it was, which should make you respect that other person whom you decided to put down. If you are in training or enhancing your skills, another example of this idea would be to truly imagine that you are going through what they are going through. Active listening. Most people are so caught up in their world or so busy thinking about what they want to say that they are not able to effectively listen to others. These are the type of individuals that will cut you off while you are in mid-sentence. They will dismiss the statements that you make, to focus on their own. These are the people who always end up asking the same questions over and over because they never actually listen to the person that they are talking to. The key is to make sure that you are present and participating in the conversation that you are having. This makes a huge difference to the person that you are speaking with. Positivity. Recognizing that you have the power within you to change things by thinking positive, this is a great way to get your mind and body ready for the journey of healing. Having true faith means that you believe that the work that you are doing will produce positive outcomes for your future. When you continue to eat right, meditate, practice self-care, you will inspire others with that special gift that you have. Gifts. Some people like to compare it to having magical powers, basically being able to read an entire room as soon as you walk into it. Many of these people have talked about having this same kind of ability, even being able to read the temperature. It is when you get a sudden feeling that there is someone has been triggered, assaulted, feeling angry, or even experiencing overwhelming joy. Being able to feel what is getting ready to happen, based on being able to draw the emotions of everyone in the room, this can be difficult or even frightening to deal with. When you're still unskilled and unhealed in your gift, often being so naive can make us feel like we are always at the mercy of what everyone else is feeling and thinking. Many times we do not even have a sense of what we think or how we are feeling, because we are always so tuned into the emotions of others. The better that we get at tuning into how we feel, listening to the message of whatever our emotions are, and responding accordingly, the more we can avoid things and move forward. We have to be able to focus on moving towards what we need to do to accomplish our goals. Resistance. When you are feeling resistance, you do not necessarily have to understand why you are feeling it. You do not need to know all the details, and there is no need to try and analyze it, just feel. You want to get to a place where you do not feel that anymore. At that moment, try moving towards a place where you do not resist as much. Make a habit of giving yourself whatever you need, no matter what. This includes having to say no on a more consistent basis. You always have the option to speak the truth to someone with love, so do not hesitate to let them know how you are feeling or how they can improve. It is important to be mindful and aware of this ability. You can sense or feel things is very strong and direct, so it affords us the ability to be prepared for certain things. The better you get at taking care of the gift, the stronger and more interesting it will become. You want to get to the point where you know how to process those internal warnings when you receive them so that you will not resist or shy away from them. Many people do not ever get to this point because they never value themselves enough to care enough about how they feel. There are plenty of individuals who have never managed to come into their power or learn how to take care of themselves, so they end up resenting their gift. They go through life feeling like they are constantly held prisoner by the feelings of everyone else. Listen to how you feel, say no when you do not want to do something, and say yes to the things that you want to do. If you have this gift and you are not in touch with your own needs, you may find yourself stuck in a codependent state of mind in your relationships. When you are aware of your gift and leverage it, you can use it very intentionally and make it work to your advantage. This is why you want to take the time to develop this gift so that you can heal yourself, come into your full power and begin to help others. World healing. There is so much pain on this planet that has never been addressed or healed, and there have been wars going on for centuries claiming so many lives. Those energies have been consumed by the millions of empathetic individuals walking the earth, and they have been ambushed and abused by that horrible energy. Since most of them are not aware of unskilled, they have no idea how to begin the process of disconnecting themselves from those negative feelings. These people are a vital part of the healing process, and their ability to feel emotions from other people can be leveraged if you look at it objectively. The greatest need on the planet is for restoration and for people and their trauma to be healed. Many humans need to be restored so that we are tuned into our natural navigation system where the mind is no longer the master, but the heart is. Your mind is a wonderful servant and a terrible master. It is one of your tools, but it is not meant to run things, which is for your heart to do. When your mind is in charge, you tend to go on autopilot, which instantly causes automatic programming to take over. Quick release. One way you can release a negative emotion while at work is to take a break, go to the restroom and cry, then go back to your desk. If you are new at quick releases, you will learn quickly just how helpful it is to allow yourself to feel the emotion, go through it and then let it go. Allowing yourself to go through the emotion instead of ignoring it and keeping it locked inside, frees up your spirit, and the healing can slowly begin. Thousands of these special individuals tend to get very sick, and this is why you see such a huge correlation between them and autoimmune disorders. They are not waking in their truth, and their system starts breaking down because there is a program in their mind telling them that it is wrong to feel. It will make them believe that they are weak for feeling certain emotions, so they will begin to make those messages their reality. Meet your own needs. When you make it a priority to meet your needs consistently, it will ensure that you are aware strong enough to disconnect from those negative energies that you will come into contact with. Please take care of yourself, take the time to do the things that you love to do, spend more time on your hobbies. It is time to put yourself first. It will be a challenge because you are so used to taking care of others. Self-care is so important. You have to be in good condition to be of assistance to those who you were sent to serve. Listen to the spirit. Pay close attention to leaders and public people as they speak people. They are constantly channeling all the time and not realizing it. Many of them will talk about the problems and solutions of the world, who is to blame, who is at fault, and the possibilities of war. If you listen closely to their spirits, the intentions behind what they are saying come across very clearly as self-hating spirits with no love for humanity at all. Voice for the silent. Many individuals in this dominant society are not able to express the way that they feel. They are silenced, which is one of the most dangerous things that can happen to anyone. This is one of the main reasons that you exist on this earth as an empathetic person. You are so valuable at this time because you can feel people who are silenced. You can feel what is going on, what people think and feel regardless if they admit to it or not. This gift makes you incredibly special to the planet because you can spot where the real danger is when everyone cannot or they choose to ignore it. Mental disturbances. Increased brain activity, thinking at unusually high levels, racing thoughts that make no sense at all, paranoia, feeling the world is not safe, your brain starts to create stories about what is going on with you, and this is exhausting. You are growing and changing so quickly, your mind and brain is going through changes. The more you learn to work with these shifts in your mind, the easier it will become. Collective consciousness. As soon as you become more sensitive, your mind will tap into this consciousness, which can be hateful thoughts, fearful thoughts, and this can scare you because this is not normal. Many people feel as if they are losing their minds because of this happening. Being mindful of these occurrences will help to calm your mind and remove on from the thought. Increased anxiety. Very common as the spiritual awakening moves forward and you experience the process of growth. Your nervous system is jarred because this system is the mediator between the spirit world and the physical world, very sensitive during awakening. System going into overdrive trying to keep up with all of the changes going on. Personality change. You are going through so many serious changes quickly, so your psyche starts to melt, the ego is going away, and your old personality traits will suddenly go away. Your entire personality may change. You may begin to dress differently, eat different food, like or interest in different things. It can scare you because you may think something is wrong with you. Especially when friends or family start to pressure about the way you have changed and how they do not know you anymore. Life purpose. Remember who you are and what you are doing, not influenced by anything. You are strong, and commit to following the path as your soul reveals it to you, walking path of mission one step at a time, with confidence. You may not know the details of your mission, we do not find that out until the end of our lives, but you can be aware of small parts. This takes you into the rest of your life work with your heart. It keeps opening up the more stages you go through. Learn to work with wisdom, work with intuition, listen to heart, come from the mind down into the heart, which is the central chakra, the great healer and the seat of the soul, transmits energy to help you heal. Connecting with heart connects you closer to your soul. Then you are only taking steps that are guided by your heart, and you will feel this. The more you listen, the more it will guide you. Surrender or it causes more suffering. Quiet time. You do not have to meditate, but you have to figure out a way to quiet your mind. You have to practice this every day so that you differentiate between heart and mind. Sympathy. Do not confuse this word with empathy. Sympathy is when you show concern for what someone may be going through, but it has nothing with actually feeling emotions. Most of the time, when someone claims to sympathize with another person, they are displaying signs that they pity them instead of caring how they are feeling. Gift of reading. People do not always convey all the details. They may withhold information out of fear, distrust, or some other inhibiting factor, be it internal or based on those with whom they are engaging. Additionally, they may express themselves in ways not extremely articulate, thus requiring the listener to make sense of what is not being said or what is being hinted at, beneath the external expressions and words. As designers, we need to develop intuition, imagination, emotional sensitivity, and creativity in order to dig deeper without prying too personally, to extract the right kinds of insight to make a more meaningful difference. You will quit your job while you are going through this stage because you have entered a space in your life where you cannot participate in things that you do not like or things that do not fulfill you. If something is not in harmony with your purpose in life, even if it is something that you have been working on for years, you will feel empty, so you will have no problem letting it go. It was all fake. You have begun to feel as if everything about your life is fake and feels like some sort of deception. Everything that you were taught to believe in, the values you were raised with, and the things you were told about the world were lies. Now that you have seen the true reality of life, you feel as if you have no idea who you are anymore. There is a whole new set of questions that are in your head now, which include the integrity and honesty of your parents. It may seem so difficult that you feel you will not make it through it, but you will begin a healing journey of self-awareness very soon. Eyes wide open. You can see through any deception, trick, scheme, or lie that society or anyone else tries to place in front of you. It does not even have to be in your presence for you to be able to tell if it is genuine or not. This is how strong you sense things now. Seed deep conversations. During most conversations, many of these individuals will instantly separate themselves mentally without even trying to do so. The average person in the world is not interested in having serious conversations discussing spirit guides, emotions, and what is going on in the world. Talking about meaningless things is truly disturbing to your soul, and you have no problem eventually showing that. You will always try to direct the discussion towards something more relevant or serious, but this is when you lose the interest of the person you are talking with. If you find yourself in an environment where there is no constructive conversation, you will most likely find a way to isolate yourself from the situation whenever you can. You pull out the scissors. Your awakening has forced you to make an instant decision to cut those negative habits out and insert new, more positive ones into your life. You have a strong desire to correct certain behaviors and make the necessary changes so you can begin your new journey of self-discovery. You are drained from all of the negative energy in the world, and you suddenly feel the need to start cutting people out of your life. You appreciate more. The smallest things will begin to make you happy. You may wake up looking forward to hearing the birds sing or hearing an infant laugh hard for the very first time. You notice all of the beauty in life and look at the world as this amazing place where you can thrive, learn, grow, and love others with all of your might. You love harder. As your ego is shattered into thousands of pieces, the way that you love others will change tremendously. You will now to love other people intensely, and your feelings still get hurt when the love is not returned on the same level as you gave it out. Connect with your spiritual side. The first thing you need to do is to make it known that you have a deep desire to connect with your spirit so that you can follow as it guides you through life. Second, you need to figure out what steps you need to take to accomplish this goal and get to work. This is something that you will continue for the rest of your life. You will consistently count on your spirit for everything that you need in life. For an empathetic person to survive and thrive in this world, they need to take advantage of the possible distractions that nature offers to us. This is essential for them to maintain their spirit and energy level and keep their ego in check. The fact that empathetic personalities consistently take on the energy of other people is a real challenge for these sensitive individuals. They are always in research mode and remain prepared to alter negative energies if they need to. Even after you have managed to master this, you still need to be careful not to allow things to interfere with the natural flow of your life.